released to President Biden. The lawyers discovered among personal and political papers a small number of additional Obama-Biden administration records with classified markings. All but one of these documents were found in storage space in the president's Wilmington residence garage. One document consisting of one page discovered among stored materials in an adjacent room. No documents were found in the Rehoboth Beach residence. So, more documents in places they ought not to be from the time now President Biden was vice president. Does this rise to the level of a crime? Interesting question. I asked that for the purposes of the takeout this week to Jim Jordan, who is the Judiciary Committee chairman. He said he doesn't know. But what he detects and what he worries about, as other Republicans have expressed, a double standard in the application of either Department of Justice curiosity or FBI tenacity in pursuit of said documents with classified markings.
Right. I mean, this second batch of classified documents found at President Biden's home in his garage, and as you mentioned, one document in an adjacent room, seems less than propitious for the president because this goes back to the same accusations levied against Trump as far as carelessness with these documents. It was outrageous that the documents were found at Mar-a-Lago. And then you have President Joe Biden at that time saying, how can you be so careless with documents? And then yesterday saying, well, it's in the garage with my Corvette. My Corvette's locked up, so it's not like they're on the street.
Right. So this has a political context, obviously, which you've touched on, Amy, and it has a legal context. Now, there has been a considerable back and forth between Trump's legal team and the Department of Justice, and federal judges have adjudicated this back and forth. And in that back and forth, a couple of facts are clear. That there was a good faith effort by the Justice Department to talk with former President Trump, that he knew the documents were there, and there was either miscommunication or, at best, at worst, obstruction about what was there, what he knew about them, and how they were stored. That's been adjudicated in court. That's not really contested anymore. Lawyers who are experts in this world, and I'm not a lawyer and I'm not expert in this world, have said that's a bigger problem than finding something, disclosing it, and letting people know about it. The carelessness, though, is roughly equivalent. And for the vice president, it's slightly more problematic because a vice president doesn't have the authority, as a president does, to declassify anything. And you and I, meaning the three of us, and all those listening, know by now that if President Obama had declassified these documents, he would have said so by now. Clearly hasn't said that, so that leads us to assume, I think accurately, that they weren't declassified. And vice presidents have no authority to do that themselves, as former President Trump does. Now, he said he did that in his mind. Those are his words, not mine. That he declassified them in his mind. That's quite not good enough, but he does have authorities that no vice president does. So it's the handling of these classified documents that in a political context, strictly political, is going to be problematic for this president, because if you're going to comment on the former president and his carelessness, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you best have your documents and the houses they may be in order.
What's interesting about this is now we know of two people for sure who have left office, either president or vice president, and have had classified documents they're not supposed to have somewhere on their property or an adjacent property. There's no way on earth now that these are the only two people. So,
right.
Like, I mean, how much more are we going to find out about?
I'm like the only one without classified documents at this point.
Yeah,
thank
exactly.
God.
So there's a couple of points I'd like to make on that. First of all, and I'm not the only journalist who will observe this, and I'm certainly not the only academic who would observe this. Lots of journalists and academics on this following point agree completely. Our government at the federal level classifies way too much stuff. Way too much stuff. Too many things are marked classified that really ought to be part of the public realm. Pure and simple. Republicans do this, Democrats do this. Our government is hyper overactive when it comes to classification of things. Now, some of these have been admitted to in both the Trump and Biden case to have been top secret. I'm not talking about top secret documents. I'm just talking about things that get classified just because People don't want busybodies like me or academics or good government types to find them. So we overclassify things. And it is a significant issue if you, A, mishandle them, meaning you don't handle them appropriately, or they get into the wrong people's hands. That's what we're really concerned about. Information that's important to this government getting in the wrong people's hands. And if they're not handled correctly, the probability, the risk factor of that is increased. That's really what we're talking about here. And at Mar-a-Lago, there it does seem to be a larger area of concern about that because it's a private club and people pay memberships for that and they circulate around. And it's already been established that at Mar-a-Lago, people with not necessarily the best interest of the United States government have made themselves members and wandered around. So it raises some questions about these documents and possibly falling in the wrong people's hands. There doesn't seem to be a lot of evidence of that yet or ever, possibly in the Biden circumstance. But this larger question of what do you have? Are you handling it the right way? For people in high public office, look, you've got the best lawyers you can hire. Everyone does. They need to run this stuff to ground, and these things shouldn't happen.
I know we have short memories here in the United States. And so if you look a year from now, will anybody be talking about the classified documents of either Trump or Biden? And will there be any ramifications from that, ostensibly?
Good question. One I can't answer. Now, tantalizingly, as that question, very good, very well thought out, is presented to me. News comes, it did just before I jumped on the phone with you, that the Attorney General has scheduled a 1 o'clock news conference at the Justice Department today. I don't think it's going to be about a Justice Department policy on X, Y, or Z. It's probably going to be about this matter, one way or the other. And you only appoint a special counsel if you think a crime has been committed. That's why the special counsel appointed in the matters dealing with former President Trump is so important, because that's not the Justice Department saying we're investigating. It's saying there's a high probability this may lead to an indictment. If there's a special counsel appointed in the Biden documents matter, well, whoa. Then we have a sitting president and a former president who the Justice Department is saying there might be a crime involved. Now, both of those special counsels could reach a similar conclusion. No, we're not going to prosecute it. Not good, mishandled, but we're not going to prosecute it. They could do that, and it could be sort of even Steven. All of that will inform our judgment, therefore our memory a year from now.
Major, a quick shift here. The Secretary of Health and Human Services, Becerra, extended the COVID-19 emergency another 90 days. What is the rationale behind that? And is that at all consistent with previous statements from the president that the COVID emergency is over?
Yeah. He declared it over. His first 4th of July didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
So this also happened in the state of California, and I asked the governor, Governor Gavin Newsom, about that when I interviewed him for the takeout and other purposes, and he said, look, we did that not because the pandemic is raging in California, but because authorities that we have are simply more easy to streamline under these emergency powers, and I don't have to revisit them and go through all these box-checking things without it. He explained it in California as a way to simplify understanding about what you can and can't do under the COVID policies. That is part of what the Department of Health and Human Services rationale is. For most Americans, and I traveled a lot during the holidays, I don't know if you did as well, I'm just telling you, our countrymen and women and children, they're sort of at the ragged edge of precautions, but they're treating this as if it's in the rearview mirror, regardless of what HHS says or the regulatory authorities it's still trying to possess or communicate under these emergency procedures.
Major Garrett, you did say Jim Jordan is on this week's takeout, correct?
He is, and we cover the documents. We cover whether or not President Biden should or should not be impeached, as some Republicans have called for, whether there will be an impeachment proceeding of the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. What's this select committee about the weaponization of government all about? Who's going to be on it? Who's it going to subpoena? What members of Congress and the Democratic Party should be kicked off committees? The continued relevance or lack thereof of former President Trump. I mean, I had 45 minutes with him. I tried to cover every base I could think of, and we did a pretty good job, I think.
Major Garrett, author of The Big Truth, Upholding Democracy in the Age of the Big Lie. We appreciate your time every week. Thank you for being with us, and enjoy your weekend.
Talk next week.
That is Major Garrett, CBS News correspondent, White House correspondent, chief Washington correspondent. He is the best. When we come back, talking with Bill DeWitt III, president of your St. Louis Cardinals, on the home of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Dave Glover.
I found a new kind of anger that I have.
A man not afraid to share his feelings.
Deli counter anger. I was in no particular hurry when I was at the deli counter, but it's just this guy. He's like, and he's taking his glasses and he's looking at it, and he's already had 3 different things. 3. You get 3, and that's it, and then you leave.
The Dave Glover Show. Weekdays beginning at 1.
You need somebody in the background to be like, you get nothing and like it.
On KMOX.
The process Balance of Nature uses to turn whole fruits and vegetables into a powder preserves its natural color, smell, taste, and chemistry, making it unnecessary to add fortifiers or synthetic isolates of any kind. This is the biggest difference that separates Balance of Nature from any other supplement on the market. Make the switch from synthetic vitamins to whole fruits and vegetables. Jumpstart your journey to better health for the new year and get $25 off plus a free fiber and spice when you use discount code ARCH.
My name is Noreen Bowser. I worried about what I was going to do once I retired. Was I going to be like my mom and dad and sit home and watch TV all afternoon? And I discovered Balance of Nature. I noticed energy level much improved, and I didn't feel the fatigue. I am 100% committed to Balance of Nature. It can only make your life better.
Jumpstart your journey to better health for the new year. For a limited time, go to balanceofnature.com and get $25 off plus a free fiber and spice when you use discount code ARCH.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars. Lose the weight and stop smoking. Only $49.99. Seminars Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express Suite St. Louis Airport in St. Louis. And Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Tom Ackerman for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. Reed McCrory, Vice President and Private Wealth Advisor, and Jeff Burgess, President, both with Busey Wealth Management, join me in studio to help all of our followers get fiscally fit. They have advice on assessing your finances and creating a plan for your future. Listen to our January podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
At 10:31, we have light rain. There is some cloudy conditions as well. 39 degrees. It feels like 29 downtown at the Arch. I'm Carol Daniel. A batch of documents with classified markings found at President Biden's home in Wilmington, Delaware. The president at a news conference said his lawyers reviewed other places items could have been stored from his time as vice president, and that was completed last night.
People know I take classified documents and classified material seriously. I also said we're cooperating fully and completely with the Justice Department's review.
Embattled freshman New York Republican Congressman George Santos now admits his life story, as told to voters and to party leaders in his district, was not the life he actually lived. But as we hear from CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns, there is more to be known that Santos so far is keeping to himself.
He still refuses to answer how he financed his campaign. A CBS News review revealed contributions of more than $10,000 from a controversial Chinese donor and more than $18,000 from the cousin of a sanctioned Russian oligarch. The GOP has a razor-thin majority in the House, and despite calls from some fellow Republicans to oust Santos, Speaker Kevin McCarthy said he still has plans to seat him on a congressional committee.
And the House Speaker says it is up to voters to decide Santos' political future. Use the Odyssey app to rewind to 9:06 this morning for our exclusive interview with the newly sworn-in police chief and St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones. There's a crash 55 southbound before Route Z. The right lane is closed. Could be closed for another 30 minutes. A crash 70 eastbound on the ramp from Santa Monica. Be prepared to stop in that location. And a crash 55 northbound past Butler Hill Road. It's on the right shoulder. Another crash 55 southbound at Lindbergh Boulevard. That should have been cleared out by now. There could be some residual backup as a result. And taking a look at the KMOX forecast.
KMOX AccuWeather, rain and some rumbles will end in some snow showers for the city and near suburbs. Some steadier snow to the south and west of the city this morning. Temperatures fall from the low to mid 40s into the 20s tonight. So watch out for icy spots later tonight. And then tomorrow, partly sunny, cold, high 37. Not as cold this weekend. Upper 40 Saturday, low 50 Sunday as we're dry. With AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Dean DeVore, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
And right now we have in St. Peter's fog and 37 degrees. In Florissant, there are cloudy skies and 37. It is 39. It feels like 29 with cloudy skies downtown at the Arch. I'm Carol Daniel, KMOX News.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we are more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
So, you've unwrapped a new device this year. Don't forget to take your favorite stations and podcasts with you.
No matter where you go.
With the Odyssey app.
Stream the music and shows you love on your phone, tablet, laptop, smart speaker, and more.
Create an account to save your favorites across devices.
And jump back to the moments that matter most with Rewind.
Your favorite local listening. Available when and how you want.
Download the Odyssey app today to get started.
Hey guys, Glover here, and I see clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Malhotra, and you can too. Go to youridoc.com today or call 314-966-5000.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Three Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
I'm Rick Edelman, host of the award-winning personal finance radio show, The Truth About Your Future. Here to tell you that The Truth About Your Future is now a daily podcast. Short and quick, every day I give you the information you need about personal finance. Longevity, retirement security, exponential technologies, blockchain and digital assets, and health and wellness. Get the truth about your future with Rick Edelman. The podcast is at YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Google, and thetruthayf.com.
It's women's Billikens basketball action tonight as they take on Rhode Island. Pre-game 6:47, tip at 7 on your home for Billikens basketball. KMOX.
Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on KMOX. A good morning to you. Dave Glover comes up at 1 o'clock. We hang out with him. And right now we go back to the guest line. The winter warm-up for the St. Louis Cardinals is coming up. It is this weekend, Martin Luther King weekend. And we are joined now by the president of the Cardinals, Bill DeWitt III, who joins us this morning on KMOX. Good morning to you, Bill. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. And, you know, it's cold. It's rainy today. I know in parts of Missouri, they got blanketed with snow. So it's nice to hear about winter warm-up coming because that's exactly what it's here for.
Yeah, it's sort of appropriately named this year. Always is. But, you know, it's that nice milestone in the calendar where we kind of recall things that happened last year still, but we also turn the page for next year. And, you know, it's really fun to have all the players in and, you know, talking Cardinal baseball, you know, when it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while just because we had the cancellations, COVID happened. So this winter warm-up compared to some of the last, what should we expect?
Well, this one's definitely different because it's a new venue. We're actually bringing it on campus, quote unquote. In the, you know, the past, we've had it at you know, the old Adams Mark, Hilton, or Hyatt. But now it's going to be, the main stage will be in Ballpark Village in the Bally Sports Live area, and all the autographs and, you know, and things like that will be around there. And then we also have a number of events in the stadium just right across Clark. You know, some things at the hotel, the Live by Lowe's. So it really, you know, becomes, I think, a celebration of also what we have going on downtown here. So we're really excited about the new venue and the new year because it's been 2 years off, like you said, because of COVID.
Yeah, because of that, I imagine the demand for winter warm-up tickets, for availability for the player signings, those have got to be through the roof, especially with all the new Cardinal signings, the big signings, and what an exciting season 2023 is destined to be.
Yeah, it's been a really good showing for fans. There's pent-up demand for the warm-up. I think A number of our fans like to travel in for it. Others just, have it, as a little fun thing to do on this MLK weekend, the long weekend. So, it's going to be a big one. I think it's also, a great way for us to look ahead and realize that spring training isn't too far away. And, hopefully we, have the weather turn at some point here soon. But right now we're just kind of in the throes of it, getting ready for this new venue and having it be really exciting for everybody to experience this thing in a different way.
Bill DeWitt III, president of the Cardinals, is joining us here on KMOX. And you mentioned spring training. It is coming up. I believe February 25th will be the first spring game, the first Grapefruit League game, if I'm not mistaken. So it is, it's coming up here. It's January 12th right now. As you sit here and look at the team, still about a month and a half or so before spring training, what do you see?
Well, we had a good year, great regular season last year, won the division, and I think probably the pundits are mostly predicting we were a division favorite here, which is good. Obviously, it means that we have a competitive team, but you got to go play the games. And, obviously we lost two guys to retirement. What were their names again? Oh, Pujols and Molina.
Yeah, heard of them.
Yeah. Legends, and Albert, of course, just for that final amazing year, but Yachty during that whole time. And I think, it'll take a minute to adjust to Contreras for the pitching staff, but he brings a lot of offense to the table, a great arm, and I think was the perfect fit for us from a free agent standpoint this year and for what we needed. So, we've got a lot of young players coming too. There's a lot of talk about Jordan Walker and a number of other young players. We've got 5 kids in the top 100 in MLB prospects, which usually if you have a couple, you're pretty excited. But to have 5 really bodes well for the future. And I think, not to mention we have the reigning MVP and a guy named Arenado. So we're really excited about this upcoming season, and the future looks bright.
Yeah, and the Cardinals have those established leaders, have had them for so long. And we mentioned Molina. It's crazy that this year we won't be chanting Yachty, Yachty in the stands because that's become such a tradition, just a part of the Busch Stadium experience. But we have Nolan Arenado now remaining with the Cardinals at least through 2027, saying he's setting up camp here. He loves to be in St. Louis, loves to be a Cardinal. And you think, okay, this might be, the face of someone who really becomes the Cardinals organization to kind of take that torch from the legendary players before him.
Yeah, I agree. I think you could put Goldie in that same category. We have him for a number of years still too. But Arenado, in the prime of his career, great hitter, unbelievable fielder, and wants to be here. And I think that's something that Cardinals fans just totally appreciate. When you're a superstar in baseball, you end up with a lot of options when you hit free agency. And, what do you want? You want a chance to win every year, and you want a great situation with the ballpark and the fans and the support. And I think, he has that in St. Louis. And I think he's also a guy that appreciates the tradition and the legacy of the great players that have come before him. And, for all those reasons, he's a perfect fit for us to build around, future, great teams.
John Mozeliak had visited with Tom Ackerman here on the station about a week and a half ago and said not to expect any other major additions or, major expenditures before the season starts. And, I know GMs and presidents of baseball operation don't always show all their cards. Is it possible, though, that if something is right, we still could see something significant happen?
I would say it's never say never, because we've always been opportunistic in the off season. I do think that it's a really good model to have a little bit of dry powder as you enter a season, whether it's, injuries that can happen or, trade deadline deals or whatever, when a little bit more specifically what your needs are. And then also the fact that I mentioned earlier, we've got these young kids coming. We don't know quite when. Some of them appear to be ready to go maybe this year, others maybe a couple years away. So I think we want to see those players develop and maybe be the answer in certain cases to issues that may arise. And when you fill from within, you're really in a much better strategic position than if you just go out and get somebody and perhaps even block somebody from within. So I think the order of the day is flexibility with the remaining issues we have, either to fix them internally or at a point in time in the season where it makes the most sense to do so.
Bill DeWitt III is joining us here. He is the president of the St. Louis Cardinals, as you know, and we are the home of the Cardinals, and baseball is coming up rapidly. And, you mentioned that this weekend, it is Martin Luther King weekend. It's a longer weekend. A lot of people do have that Monday off. And with that being the backdrop of this winter warm-up, with it being Martin Luther King Day, I know that Major League Baseball as an organization has had for many years concerns about the amount of Black players that are playing baseball, kids growing up, and they're going to other sports. They're playing basketball, football, and they're doing other stuff and not necessarily growing up playing baseball. And there's a rich history of Black players in this city. Ozzie and Lou and Bob Gibson. I mean, some of the best players in the history of the game have been St. Louis Cardinals. Is there enough progress being made there by Major League Baseball?
Well, you raised some good points. I was looking at a graph the other day because this came up in a conversation, and what you see over time is African American players were a good share of Major League Baseball players, and you had Latin players come in, and I'm talking about 50-year stretch here. Latin American players have really kind of, I wouldn't say squeezed out because that's not the only thing going on, both African American as well as Caucasian players. And I think that there are a lot of trends going on with that. One is what you said, there's competing sports that seem to have attracted those types of players. But MLB has, in the last, I would say, 15 years, started to really invest in opportunities. For example, Cardinals Care, just as a small example, does little youth leagues throughout the city for disadvantaged communities. And you multiply that by 30 teams. A lot of teams have similar programs. And then MLB does these academies, urban youth academies, which are designed to, give opportunities to players that come from disadvantaged backgrounds. And all these things are actually starting to make a difference because you're seeing the number of drafted African-American players rise as a percentage of the draft pool. And you're starting to see the results, but it has required MLB to be more invested in this issue, and you're seeing the results start to come. And we got to keep doing it because it's an important part of the fabric of the game, and we want to represent the overall culture of the U.S. With this great game we have.
Just out of curiosity, have you seen this issue have any sort of effect on the demographics of the fan base of people who come to ball games, who watch on TV, or who listen on KMOX, that sort of thing?
I think you could argue there's a bit of a parallel in demos, but the one thing I have noticed, and I've checked with my counterparts on this, is that the demographics of baseball attendance are very much a reflection of the region you're in. For example, like in LA, there's a little more diversity for people coming to the games because that culture over there the demos there are a little more diverse. Having said that, what we've noticed is with the Cardinals, you have an older demographic, let's say mid to late 50s of ticket purchasers on average. But when we've done assessments of who's actually in the ballpark, that demographic is about 20 years younger on average. and is more diverse than the actual folks buying the tickets. And so we find that to be encouraging, that people buy tickets and they either give away, they resell maybe on the secondary, or they bring guests or clients or whatever, or their grandkids or whomever. And that's a wonderful feature of baseball because it's generational. You can bring people, it's every day in the summer. You can have those conversations, have a great day downtown. And I think it's something we have to make sure we don't, get too skewed demographically, but the trends I'm seeing right now are encouraging.
You mentioned also the older demographic of the baseball fan in general. It's not really just St. Louis, it's everywhere. And I know MLB is concerned about that, which is part of the reason a lot of these rules changes have happened over the last few years, trying to make the pace quicker and make the game more interesting in a lot of different ways. Do you see those changes working to attract a younger fan?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think the rules changes aren't necessarily a response to demographic trends as much as they are a response to the game has changed. The rules haven't changed, if you think about it, but the game has. And so, our approach at MLB has been to make some tweaks to the rules to get the game back to the better version of itself that we felt was there 20, 25, 30 years ago. And that means a pitch clock, which will speed up the pace of the game. Eliminating the shift, which will create more balls in play and, I think more action, slightly larger bases, which will increase stolen bases in the running game. So all this stuff, I think, is designed to get the game back to a better version of itself that we all sort of had a sense was changing, but it kind of happened over time without any real rules changes. And it was mainly through the kind of analytics revolution and some of the changes that occurred throughout the league that way.
Bill DeWitt III, president of the St. Louis Cardinals. We appreciate your time. Thank you for giving us so much of it today. I'll be at Winter Warm-Up on Monday with Ackerman. We're going to be doing a show there that morning, so hopefully you'll stop by and see us. I know you're going to be busy.
Around.
I know you're going to be busy, but you can pop by.
Absolutely.
All
For
right.
sure. We'll see you guys there. Have a good one.
That is Bill DeWitt III, the president of the Cardinals. Baseball is coming up. It's weird I know we do this every single year, but every single year it feels like baseball sneaks up on us.
Yeah.
Every year. We're like, wow, it's almost spring training already. But
Do you know
it's
why?
kind of almost spring training
It's because
already.
the couple months without it are it's the holiday season.
Yeah.
And so it flies by.
Yeah, you're right about that. That's good thinking, Amy.
Thanks.
You're a smart bird.
I try.
Amy Marks-Kors and Chris Ranji. Did you see this? That's next on the show.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS employees and enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
What if everything you got came with a little bit of money? Spicy chicken ramen with a side of quarters, a full tank of gas, and a $5 bill, an entire pantry's worth of groceries, and a pocket full of cash. Well, then you'd be living life on the upside. The first platform that gives you real cash back in real life wherever you roll. Restaurants, grocery stores, gas stations, all cashback opportunities. So order the expensive appetizer, buy a little extra at the store, fill your gas tank till the pump stops. Because with Upside, you can. Start earning cash back just for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code SPICY for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code SPICY. Promo code SPICY. SPICY for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Start living life on the upside with the free Upside app.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan.
Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99. Hypnosis is designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. That's right, seminars, Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis, Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminar.com.
For all your communication needs, check out the Center for Hearing and Speech. Call today, 314-968-4710 or chsstl.org.
Amy Marks scores.
This is my show, my microphone.
On the show.
Did you see that thing?
I can't believe it. Something is obviously wrong.
This is a joke, right?
Oh my God.
Are you freaking kidding me?
No way.
You gotta be kidding me. Don't feel bad. There's no way you could have known that.
Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy on the show?
Yeah, that's a good one, baby. Amy Mark scores and Chris Ranji. We're almost to the break here. Did you see, Amy, that Jeff Beck, longtime guitar player, passed away? Longtime guitar player. Very, very good. Very well respected. Almost played with the Rolling Stones even. You know, I think, was he in the Yardbirds? Isn't that right? Yardbirds with Eric Clapton?
Before they were didn't the Yardbirds become Led Zeppelin?
No.
I thought
some of them?
Or did the Yardbirds say that it has something to do with Led Zeppelin?
Wait a minute, Eric Clapton was in the Yardbirds for a minute, right?
Eric Clapton was in the Yardbirds, yeah. So was Jeff Beck and
Oh, yes, the classic rock guy. What are we talking for? Just Dave, jump in, man.
Okay, Jimmy Page.
There was also they also became the new Yardbirds too.
Yeah, Jimmy Page was in the Yardbirds.
Yeah, Jimmy Page, and what was left of the Yardbirds, I think, became Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Was New Yardbirds like New Coke? Like nobody liked them?
I've never heard of the new Yardbirds.
Yeah?
No.
I haven't either. That was the first time I heard. I had no idea what that was.
I mean, I heard of the original Yardbirds. Hey, did
guys.
you see this?
What?
Oh, go ahead.
No, we're starting a new band. We used to be the Yardbirds. Now we're the New Yardbirds. Okay, go ahead.
They're like, seriously, Chris, that's what you're going to name it?
Yeah.
The gas.
Called the show.
The gas stoves. You know,
Yes.
all the issue about banning the gas stoves. Well, from the U.S. Consumer Protection Agency, one of those agencies, at any rate, Joe Biden said that he doesn't think banning gas stoves is the way to go. He doesn't see that happening. And also, if you have like a ventilation process or system, like a hood over the stove, the gas stoves don't pose any risk. So it's primarily if you are in a situation like I am, where you have a microwave over the stove and no ventilation system, that the gas stoves can pose a risk. So, open a window or something.
See,
but
that's what I have too. Did you see the Matt Gaetz tweet in regard to it? It's a video of his stove burning, like his gas burner. And he says, you'll have to pry it from my cold, dead hands.
Okay, well, that
come on, what are we
makes me
doing
want to
here?
ban the gas stoves.
Me too. What are we doing here?
Come on, man.
Everything's not a cause.
I know. Well,
All
I
right.
mean, maybe it should be. We had the car. The
That
car was our
isn't.
cause.
Hey, we got a draft coming up. Good thing we brought up Jeff Beck. We'll tell you what the draft is and what it's about. That's next on KMOX.
Folks, it's time to put your car payments on ice. That's right. Make no car payments until April when you upgrade this month at St. Charles Hyundai. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or service, St. Charles Hyundai is giving you amazing savings all winter long. And remember, hurry in today and make no car payments until April. St. Charles Hyundai is located a quarter-mile east of Mid-Rivers Mall Drive off I-70, or visit them online at stcharleshyundai.com. Interest, if any, accrues during the deferral period, expires month's end. St. Charles Hyundai.
Happy New Year from our friends at Zero Res 2023. Time to get your home Zero Resified with all the services at 23% off. You must book and clean in January. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com for 23% off all of our services.
Ask yourself, what am I doing to guarantee I will have adequate inflation-hedged income that I may never outlive? Why not make sure your future income is growing and may last as long as you do? Call for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233. And also join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio.
Football's biggest game of the year is coming up February 12th. But if you're looking to travel in 2023, the biggest day of the year for you is February 4th. It's AAA Travel Marketplace. It's the super big, can't-miss travel event of the year. AAA Travel Marketplace features tons of cruise and tour partners all under one roof with limited-time special offers for huge savings on your next dream vacation. AAA Travel Marketplace, Saturday, February 4th, 9 a.m. till noon at the Holiday Inn at Watson and Lindbergh in Sunset Hills. Get all the info at AAA.com/travel show.
KMOX, KEZK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
When do you need to see an ophthalmologist? Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. Now, that's a good question. If your vision is blurry, you notice dark spots in the middle of your field of vision, you're seeing flashes or new floaters, if you have difficulty seeing distances, if there's a sharp pain in one eye, along with vision changes, or if you have trouble driving because of glare, these are all good reasons to make your appointment with the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000 and youridoc.com. And if your eyes are itchy and scratchy, that might be more than allergies. The doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Andrew Royer, and Robert Brusati are also leaders in dry eye diagnosis and treatment. I've been a patient of theirs for about 25 years. In Sullivan, St. Peter's, and their main headquarters, 270 in Manchester, 314-966-5000 and youridoc.com.
You don't need special gadgets to be a hero. With unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere, the Capital One Quicksilver card makes you the hero of every purchase. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, there's some drizzle and 38 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour is a KMOX exclusive. The new St. Louis Police Chief, Robert Tracy, joined Total Information AM along with Mayor Tashara Jones. Tracy is the first ever chief from hired outside the city.
I hope I can live up to that historic moment. And, I'm just privileged and honored to be here. And I thank the mayor for having faith in me to select me as the first outside chief in the history of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department.
Mayor Jones says race was not a factor in the hiring process.
I hire the people with the most qualifications who are most skilled to do the job, period. I don't care if they're white, black, blue, purple, yellow, whatever. And Chief Tracy's experience rose to the top for me.
Chief Tracy says he's not ready to comment on the topic of pay raises for officers as contract negotiations are still underway between the city and police unions. A batch of documents with classified markings were found at President Joe Biden's home in Wilmington, Delaware. The president at a news conference says he takes classified documents seriously and is cooperating fully with the Justice Department.
My lawyers reviewed other places where documents from my time as vice president were stored, and they finished the review last night. They discovered a small number of documents of classified markings in storage areas and file cabinets in my home and my personal library.
The disclosure comes days after word that sensitive documents were also found at the office of Biden's former Washington Institute. The largest car industry event in the region is about to get underway in downtown St. Louis.
This is Scott Jagow. I'm on the $1 Million Mile at America Center. It's the 2023 St. Louis Auto Show. There's a $1.6 million Bugatti, Porsches, Rolls Royces, all kinds of beautiful, expensive cars. But there are also 400 new models of other cars from all kinds of manufacturers. You can come here with no pressure, sit in one, get an idea of if you'll like it or not. A lot of talk around electric vehicles at this event. the St. Louis Auto Show at America Center.
AP correspondent Rita Foley reports on the system that failed, canceling and delaying thousands of flights.
The breakdown showed how much American air travel depends on the computer system that generates alerts called NOTAMs, or Notice to Air Missions. Pilots and safety officials have complained about NOTAMs for years, saying there are too many of them and that some of them are unnecessary and written cryptically.
The KMOX Business Desk, according to a new government report, U.S. consumer inflation eased last month, a sign that the worst bout of inflation in 4 decades is cooling off. Prices increased 6.5% in December compared to a year earlier. Bankrate's Mark Hamrick breaks down the report.
Contributors to upward pressure on core inflation include shelter or housing, household furnishings, car insurance, recreation, and clothing. Downward price pressure was seen with used cars and trucks, as well as airline fares in December. Broadly, energy prices are up 7.3% over the past year. Food is up 10.4%.
The latest reading marks the 6th consecutive monthly deceleration in price increases. The Dow from Stifel's up 175 points to 34,148. And we've got some debris on 44 West at Grand. The left lane is closed. There's been a ladder in the middle of the road on 64 going east at Grand. And looks like on the camera there is somebody there possibly getting rid of that. Some debris also on 55 South before Route Z. The right lane is closed. A stall 70 East before 370 in the right shoulder. And debris 70 East at O'Fallon Park. The right lane closed.
KMOX AccuWeather damp, some bits of rain and drizzle, some snowflakes mixing in as we go through the rest of the day. In the afternoon, we're falling back through the 30s, and then some flurries and some slick spots later tonight as we drop down to 27. Cold tomorrow, sun and clouds up to 37. Better this weekend, upper 40s on Saturday, low to mid 50s on Sunday. Both those days look dry. With AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Justine DeVore and the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We've got fog and 37 in Florissant, 37 in St. Peters, and some drizzle, 38 degrees downtown at the Arch. Sponsored by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show and the draft.
The draft.
Building the perfect team.
I love the draft.
It's the draft.
More draft.
On the show.
Hey, it's Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on the show on KMOX. It's good to have you with us today. We are drafting in honor of Jeff Beck, who just passed away this week. Very well-known guitarist, American guitarist. He was fantastic. We are drafting today musicians.
Like singers.
Musicians who have passed away that we would wish we could see live right now.
That's right. And we are limiting it to like that specific musician. And not the band that person's in. So you can't say, oh, I wish I could have seen the Beatles. It's got to be a person. Now, if that person were in a band but also had a solo career, that counts. But we're not doing full bands.
Oh, yep. I totally agree with you.
Not
right. Doing full bands.
No.
Who went first last time? Was
I
it
think
you or
you
me?
did.
All right. So it's your turn, Amy. You get to pick first in our dead musician draft you wish you could see live.
That's so sad.
I mean, they're dead musicians.
Okay, this is really, really difficult for me.
Okay.
But my number one overall pick, and I'm picking strategically here, is Prince.
You know what? You could go straight to hell.
I know.
I don't want to do it anymore.
Go to commercial, Dave. Go to
I don't wanna
commercial.
do it.
Play a PSA.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do the draft.
You know what?
I quit.
You took the
quit.
Golden Girls months ago, knowing you had no intention to love or appreciate what the Golden Girls is and what they stand for, and you took it out of spite and meanness of heart.
How did you
at
know
least
I was going to pick him?
I didn't.
You know what? You heard somebody. You know what? It was Andrew. He said Prince in the office earlier. And
No,
you're like,
I said
I'm going to take
Prince.
Prince.
I've
No.
said my favorite Super Bowl performance was Prince, Purple Rain, In the Rain in Miami. I have a Prince coffee mug.
I don't want to play.
You know
I
what?
quit.
You have a bad attitude. You're a bad attitude man.
I don't want to play anymore. I'm so mad at you.
I know.
Like I'm looking at your face and I'm like, oh, I hate it.
I love you, Chris. Damn it. And your big, stupid face.
All right, I'm going with John Lennon.
Okay, well, crap. I had that too.
All right. Yeah, I mean, that's was going to
Yeah.
be my number 2 pick because I didn't think you'd know who it was.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I'm
John
gonna get-
Lennon.
okay.
John Lennon is my number 1 pick.
I also have a John Lennon mug. So,
Yeah, congratulations. I
hey,
don't care.
yeah, well,
God,
okay.
I want to see Prince. So, and here's the thing about Prince. There's a guy from St. Louis I used to work with. He
Yeah.
moved away. That doesn't matter. But he, I was like 24, 25, and he worked in the
Mhm.
office I worked in. I think he was like 10 years older than me. And he used to talk, he was in the Prince fan club.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have a great, I just thought Prince was kind of, poppy, whatever. It didn't really hit me, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, no, I'm telling you, Prince is amazing. He's an incredible guitar player. And I'm like, okay. Because he was more flashy than anything else. And then I finally started to appreciate him. Never saw him live.
Yep.
Had the opportunity. In fact, this dude.
You had the opportunity?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had a couple. And this dude, I was like, eh. And this guy who was the fan of Prince, who was in the club, that fan club, Prince used to play shows before and after his regular shows for just the fan club. So it'd be like 100 people in the room and Prince is playing for him.
Yeah.
And he got to see a bunch of those.
I cannot believe it.
so mad.
You deserved to lose that. You had an opportunity to see Prince.
All right, whatever. To make your second
Okay, I
pick, I
think
went
this
with
one-
John Lennon.
I think this one counts.
Oh,
You can tell me if it
so
doesn't
mad.
count. Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, he's dead. What?
Well, because I mean, technically it's with Queen.
So
Is that too?
No, he's a
okay.
musician.
Okay, Freddie. I want to see
You know,
Freddie.
do you know what bands are made up of?
Okay, you know
Musicians.
what? Go.
So Freddie Mercury, that's a really good pick.
Thanks.
I completely forgot about him. I can't believe I forgot about
Yeah.
him. All right. My number 2 pick in the dead artists
I'm
I
nervous
wish I could
because I
see
messed
live.
up. Okay, I
Oh,
messed
you're
up.
nervous?
Yeah.
Now you're making me almost want to pick something different because I know you're not going to pick this.
Okay, well then go.
So you're not going to pick this.
Go. You can't change now.
No,
You
I haven't
can't-
done it yet.
You can't change your intention.
I would like to see Jimi Hendrix.
That's a good one.
Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
Pretty short career.
Okay.
Just,
Yeah.
I mean, brilliant, obviously. I wonder what he would have been, like now.
Yeah.
If he were still around. Maybe doing the old guy tour. I wonder if he'd be doing that.
I don't think so.
I think he'd be a real cool guy, though.
I think he'd be cool. I think he'd be too cool to tour. All right. I'm going with my number 3 pick, which I think you would appreciate and might be angry. My number 3 overall pick is Frank Sinatra. You look so mad.
Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Didn't even think about it.
How could you not think of Frank Sinatra?
Because I didn't go back before like 1970. Except for one guy. I got one guy that I know is not on your list.
All right.
That's unbelievable.
I know.
That's a
You're
great one.
really bad
Son
today.
of a bee. Oh,
Son of a nutcracker.
damn it. Okay. All right. I'm going to pick this one just because. And this is very, some of these are pretty cliche, but I don't
Mhm.
care. I would love to see the spectacle of Elvis.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I would just to see that in person.
Yep.
And to see the screeching people screech, during
Sure.
an Elvis show. Women always screeching and throwing clothing items at him. Still happens today with other people, but Elvis Presley, that's my number 3 pick. So far,
Yeah.
here's our draft.
hmm
You went with Prince,
Yep.
Freddie Mercury, and Sinatra.
Mhm.
Really good team. I picked John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix, and Elvis.
That's really
All right,
good.
so we are drafting dead musicians we wish we could see live now.
So this is one. It's
Your
politically
number 4 pick.
it's politically incorrect. But if you were to go back to that time, I would pay $1 million to see Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I would to see him perform.
Already did. I saw
Okay,
it.
that's whatever.
I saw him at the arena,
Wow,
at the old Checker Dome.
pretty fancy of you. Was it good?
Yeah, we had seats behind the stage. He
Mhm.
played 2 nights and he was sick one of the nights. And I think we just by accident picked this one particular night.
Mhm.
And it happened to be the only show he ended up playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was the Bad Tour.
Oh,
Smooth Criminal.
Yep.
You know that one?
yeah, I do.
It was amazing. All right. My number 4 pick in the dead musician draft, Kurt Cobain.
Oh yeah.
I really would have loved to see Nirvana in their prime. Well, I guess they only had a prime, right? They didn't. They didn't get to have a. They didn't get to have a post prime.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good
Kurt
point.
Cobain. And that whole thing, because we were talking with Glover. I don't know if it was on the air or off the air, and he had the buddy who played in a hair band kind of thing, and they were coming up right at the time when Poison and Motley Crue and Def Leppard and all those, and then Nirvana hit, and Nirvana killed all of that. Like all of that hair metal stuff, hair band stuff was gone the moment Nirvana hit the scene.
Okay, I've got 3 right now. I just don't know what to do. I don't know how to choose between these 3. So I think
You just have to pick one.
I know. I think I'm going to go with just one that I personally love.
Karen Carpenter.
George Michael.
Oh, George Michael. That's a good one.
I would have liked to see George Michael.
Actually, no. You know what? I don't know if that would have done anything for me.
Too slow?
No, there's like one song I like. It was a Wham song.
Yeah,
even
but
George
can you
Michael.
name the other guy in Wham?
Daryl Oates. Or is it Daryl Hall? I can't remember. I don't know.
The name of the band was actually Hall or Oates. It was just one guy. Daryl. Hall and Oates? No, Hall or
I
Oates. We don't know.
That's the name of the band. Hall or Oates? I don't know. Oh man, I like that a lot. All right. So that was your number 5 pick.
Yeah.
My number 5 pick in the Dead Musician draft that we wish we could see live.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going B.I.G.
Oh.
Notorious.
Yep. I think we need to keep going.
All right. Yeah, I think we can too. Tupac would have been great too. I'm sticking with Biggie. I can't take a draft back. I'm going with him.
Yeah.
All right. Who is you want to go with the number 6?
Yeah. I think
All
we
right.
should do 7.
All right. We could do 7.
Whitney Houston.
That's not bad. I feel like you're going to win this draft.
I don't know. Maybe, maybe not.
Like my draft is better, except for Prince, but you're probably going to win.
Okay.
Whitney Houston. That'd be a really good one too.
Yep.
All right. All right. My number 6 pick
Mm-hmm.
in this draft, Mozart. I'm serious.
Well, crap. Now I feel like I have to pick somebody like
You don't
that.
have to.
No, that's such a good idea.
It is.
Can you
Do you
imagine
know
like
why?
the
Because
founding
there's-
fathers being like, this song slaps. George, get over here.
King George, listen to this.
Listen to this.
Hey, this guy slaps, man.
Yeah.
Like I was watching.
Mozart is nothing without Beethoven, man. He's nothing.
It's so funny, the part. You ever seen the movie Amadeus?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I haven't.
all right, when he goes to
I
visit,
only know Amadeus.
you're so dumb. I hate you.
Let's go.
There's the scene where he goes to the palace to play
Yeah.
for the king or whatever.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna compose something for him, and all these people are waiting, and Mozart sits down and starts playing, and it's Mozart, right?
Yeah.
Like you've heard it, and it's like at the time it was mind blowing, and it's just like him going, and like all these people are peeking around the corner, like who is this madman with his little harpsichord? It's so ridiculous.
I do feel like to one up you, I'm gonna be like David from the Bible playing his harp. I'm gonna go with Beethoven.
You can't go with the. No.
I'm going with Beethoven for my number 7 pick.
That's so dumb.
You can't.
What's wrong with you?
I gotta even the scales a bit. I put Beethoven on mine.
What do you mean?
Are
All
we
right.
doing 8 or 7?
I think 7.
Okay, because of Beethoven for what? Okay, go ahead. Pick your 7.
All right. Who for my last pick is this
Yeah.
number 7?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. This is a very difficult choice because I almost went with Meatloaf. I'm not going to go with Meatloaf.
Yeah. Mr. Loaf has died.
Mr. Loaf is off the board. Maybe Jim Morrison.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like, I don't know. It's fine. You know what I mean? It's fine.
Do you know who Beethoven replaced on my number 7 pick? David Bowie.
How did I not think of David
It
Bowie?
was either Beethoven or David Bowie.
Oh, dude, this list is so stupid. I hate my team.
I know. I should have replaced
I hate
George
my
Michael or Whitney Houston with David
All
Bowie.
right. So here's our teams.
Oh my gosh.
We picked
I
our.
can't believe you picked Mozart. That was your Jared from Subway moment.
That was great. No chance you thought of Mozart, did you?
No, it never occurred to me. I like how you're like, I didn't go past the 70s, except for one guy.
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. All right. Our teams, dead musicians we wish we could see live.
Yeah.
Amy picked Prince, Freddie Mercury, Frank Sinatra, Michael Jackson. You're a pervert. George Michael, Whitney Houston, and Beethoven. I picked John Lennon.
Really took the air out of your Mozart pick, didn't it?
Yeah, because it's copycatting.
Yeah, it is.
It's copycat league though. I picked John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix, Elvis, Kurt Cobain, Notorious B.I.G., Mozart, and Jim Morrison. Even though I don't even like the Doors that much.
Yeah.
I
didn't
kinda
get
like to see
David
it.
Bowie. I should have picked David Bowie.
I would rather have had David Bowie than Jim Morrison, but the pick's already been submitted to the league, and I can't go back on it now. So we will have our selections on our Twitter account at the show KMOX shortly. We'll give you our picks, and then you can vote on who had the best draft today.
Thank you in advance.
We have a new dress code.
Oh.
Here
The
at
la- the-
KMOX. Nope, never mind. It's in the Missouri House of Representatives.
Yeah.
There is a new dress code
For the ladies.
for the ladies.
Oh, yeah.
And Amy is really interested in this
Oh,
because she
yeah.
thinks we should have one here
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
at KMOX.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system, options, and strategies to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
What if you ordered a pizza, but when you opened the box, a couple pieces were missing? That would be upsetting, right? Now think about how much money you believe you have saved for retirement. Do you still owe taxes on that money? If you do, that could take a big bite out of your nest egg. Ken and Lori Heisey and their team at Heisey Advisory Group understand the importance of tax planning and can help reduce the impact that Uncle Sam has on your retirement. Give them a call today to start working on your retirement tax plan. 314-328-4400. That's 314-328-4400. Now may be a great time to lower your future tax liability. Create a retirement plan today so that you can get as many slices of your retirement pie as possible. Call Ken and Lori Heisey at Heisey Advisory Group at 314-328-4400 today and schedule your visit. That's 314-328-4400. Firm cannot give tax advice. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
So I have a new client to tell you guys about, Doctors Bertie and Malhotra from Ophthalmology Associates. You've heard about them for years. Charlie Brennan, Tom Ackerman, Trish Gazelle, so many personalities have gone to see these doctors. I recently went myself. I have a very slight prescription, but I have something called narrow angle glaucoma in my family, so I have to be really careful about that. I had the best exam I've ever had from the most courteous professional people I've ever dealt with. Put aside all the puffery, put aside all of my salesmanship. These are the best eye doctors in town. They're so professional, so competent. Their staff are so friendly. Everything about them, whether it's a LASIK procedure or it's simply eyeglasses or sunglasses, whatever it is, these are the guys. 314-966-5000. That's 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com for Doctors Birdie and Malhotra at Ophthalmology Associates.
Nearly a century of informing, entertaining, and serving St. Louis. KMOX.
Amy Mark Scores and Chris Ranji on the show. Your text messages are welcome. 314-436-7900. This text from a 678. Where is 678 area code? I have no idea. Find out and let me know. This text message from a 678.
Atlanta.
Hey,
Hey.
ATL.
Hello, Atlanta.
There's some news about Atlanta. For anybody who's a Kansas City Chiefs fan, if there happens to be a Chiefs-Bills AFC Championship game, it will be played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
Very exciting.
So at a neutral site. Because they didn't get to finish the Bills-Bengals game, which had implications for seeding and all that stuff. So home field advantage, whatever. You'll be playing in Atlanta Chiefs if you play the Bills in the AFC title game.
We are the radio home of the Chiefs in
We
St.
are the
Louis.
radio home of the Chiefs. This text message from Atlanta says, I'm not sure your show could be dumbed down anymore.
Oh.
Please stop reading Twitter, giggling, and find some kind of substance. What happened to the mighty KMOX? Well, I'll tell you what happened. We came in and killed it. Walked right
Wait
in
a
the
minute.
studio.
I feel like the
Put it in
giggling's
chokehold.
the giggling's directed at me. Were we reading Twitter?
No, we were doing a draft.
Oh yeah. We could talk about abortion.
Yeah, let's talk about abortion. What do you think?
And guns.
Hey, let's talk about guns. What do you think?
Okay, well, let's put a bookmark there and we'll finish the draft.
Yeah, okay, let's finish the draft.
Yeah.
So there's a new dress code. How's this for substance, Atlanta listener?
Why is he listening to nonsense radio then from Atlanta?
I don't know, but
Do they-
listening clearly, and this is a great endorsement of the Odyssey app.
It really
because
is.
you can download the Odyssey app and listen to KMOX in Atlanta.
That's wonderful. Thank you for listening
Yeah, we
and
appreciate it.
participating in the show.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
Atlanta.
So there's more highbrow stuff coming up at noon if you want to stick around. Amy, tell me about your thing.
Okay, guys. There are a lot of pressing issues, obviously, facing our country, facing the state of Missouri, and in Jefferson City, the legislative session is in progress, and so Representative Ann Kelly, that Republican in the House of Missouri House of Representatives, proposed clarifying the dress code rule for women in the House. So the previous rule stated that dresses or skirts or slacks worn with a blazer or sweater and appropriate dress shoes or boots were allowed. And they have since changed the code to proper attire for women shall be business attire, including jackets worn with dresses, skirts, or slacks, and dress shoes or boots. And to be completely honest, I have read those two
Yeah, I got
rules
a
10
question.
times and I can't tell the difference.
I don't know the difference either.
Yeah.
How is that more clear now? I don't
I'm not
understand how
sure.
one is clearer than the other.
And I'm glad. What I want to know, when you go skiing, there is a sign at the top of every ski lift that says "Keep ski tips up." And it's funny because they put that sign there because someone had their ski tips down,
Right.
hit the side of the mountain, and went flipping head over heels.
So what you're wondering is
What prompted
Yes.
this representative in this tumultuous political environment that we're in to say, hey, first order of business, let's nail down the dress code for the ladies.
Now, here's one thing I will say
Yeah.
in defense of seemingly
Kelly.
frivolous stuff
Yeah.
in state legislature or in national legislature, whatever it is. There are times where a representative congressman takes up a cause, right? They introduce a bill or they put their attention towards something. And your first thought to criticize it is, why are we wasting time on this?
Mhm.
Like, oh, isn't there anything better to do? We say that all the time, right? in defense of something dumb like this, I will say that if a legislature is doing its job properly, it's handling a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Like it's tackling even the dumbest, the seemingly
Sure.
stupidest item of business they're going after. But I don't know how
Yeah.
this is a
So-
thing that matters.
And what this bill does is it explicitly requires women legislators to wear jackets on the House floor, but then it says a cardigan counts as a jacket. And I just am not sure how that they dresses or skirts or slacks worn with a blazer or sweater was not the same thing.
So somebody wore a cardigan.
But cardigans count now, still.
Well, maybe that's what it was. Somebody said, "Hey, can I wear a cardigan? Can we fix the rule so that I can wear my cardigan?"
But the original rule also mentioned sweaters.
I don't know what we're doing then.
I don't
know. I don't have an answer for this.
I don't know either.
Is this stupid? Let us know. 314-436-7900. Is this a silly thing that the Missouri House is worried about? Seems like a dress code. You just kind of know what to wear, right?
I guess was someone dressing crazy? Provocatively?
Could it be a thing where they consider a man wearing women's clothing or something to be inappropriate? Is it one of those kind of things?
No, I think it has to do with blazers.
All right, well, to the important business we go. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji. Matt Pauley joins us next on KMOX.
Dave Glover.
I found a new kind of anger that I have.
A man not afraid to share his feelings.
Deli counter anger. I was in no particular hurry when I was at the deli counter, but it's just this guy. He's like, and he's taking his glasses and he's looking at it, and he's already had 3 different things. 3. You get 3, and that's it, and then you leave.
The Dave Glover Show. Weekdays beginning at 1.
You need somebody in the background to be like, you get nothing and like it.
On KMOX.
The real estate market continues making headlines for both buyers and sellers. The big dilemma for sellers like you is finding the right buyer willing to pay the right price, right? This is Debbie Monterey. And while most agents will make big promises, Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty will actually present you with an upfront written guarantee. It states that Gloria will sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she will buy it guaranteed in writing. Does your agent compare to that? Gloria is able to make this bold offer because Gloria already has the buyers in her exclusive buyers in waiting program. So before you list your home, do your research and get to know Gloria Liu like I have. Gloria has solutions and options for every seller because she knows that every situation is different. Call her today and ask about Gloria's no obligation cash offer program or her guaranteed sold program. 314-325-6888 or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
At 11:30, we've got some drizzle and 38 degrees downtown at the Arch. President Biden says additional Obama-era classified documents have been found at his home in Delaware.
The president says the searches of his homes in Rehoboth Beach and Wilmington, Delaware, conducted in consultation with federal prosecutors, were completed last night.
They discovered a small number of documents of classified markings in storage areas and file cabinets in my home and my personal library.
Mr. Biden says most of the documents were in a locked garage in Wilmington, next to his Corvette. He says he continues to cooperate with federal investigators. Stephen Portnoy, CBS News, Washington.
Consumer prices moderated again last month, bolstering hopes that inflation's grip on the economy is easing. The Fed may need to take less drastic steps to rein in rising prices. CBS's Sarah Uhl-Rice has more.
Consumer prices were up 6.5% from a year ago, down from the 7.1% annual reading in November. Prices actually fell 0.1% last month. Energy costs were down 4.5% in December. Food prices were up 0.3%, but that is a deceleration from the previous month. Housing was the main increase in month-to-month prices.
And right now, there's some debris on 70 East at O'Fallon Park in the right lane. Also, 44 West at Grand. The left lane is closed. Stalled vehicles 70 East before 370 on the right shoulder. Stall 70 West past Tucker. The right lane is closed. The rest of today into the afternoon, damp with some bits of rain or drizzle, and some snowflakes could mix in. Temperatures fall through the 30s this afternoon, and then it turns colder tonight with some flurries and some slick spots. An overnight low, 27, and for tomorrow, some sunshine and a high of 37. Sponsored by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm, it's 38 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
If you're a business owner and your business has 5 or more employees and you managed to survive the past couple of years, here's what you're going to want to do. Go to getrefunds.com. Getrefunds.com. Your business could be eligible for a refund of your taxes. And that's right, you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. This is not a loan and there's nothing for you to pay back. It is simply a refund of your taxes. The confusing part can be, okay, how do I get my hands on it? How do I make sure my business gets this refund money? Here's what you need to do. Go to getrefunds.com. The team of tax attorneys that they've put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program, and they've already returned $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. Your business can qualify even if you took PPP, you're a nonprofit, or you saw an increase in sales. To find out if your business qualifies, and don't wait because this is available only for a limited amount of time, just go to getrefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. Getrefunds.com.
Men suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, regardless of age or past medical history, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Paramount Men's Medical Center. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. Call now, 314-720-8081.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Tree Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Your home of the Cardinals.
Arenado swings and hits it deep to left field. That ball is out of here.
The Billikens.
Jumper. Yes! Billikens win!
The Chiefs. Touchdown! Kansas City! We are America's sports voice. KMOX.
I just noticed the wording of our tweet.
Yeah.
Follow the show at the KMOX at the show
At the
KMOX.
KMOX.
We're on Instagram and Twitter at the show
Here's-
KMOX. But on Twitter, we have a Twitter poll
Yeah.
about our dead musician draft.
Yeah.
The musicians that you wish you could see live. And I
Okay,
the way
wait.
it's written,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Quote, dead musicians you wish you could see live, but there's a thing called homophones.
Yep.
And because of that, Ranj, how could you also read it?
Dead musicians you wish you could see live.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish all these guys were still alive.
Yeah.
Except maybe Michael Jackson. That guy probably deserved it.
Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, I think you're going to
Sorry.
win. I think Team 2 is going to win if I
If
just give it
Michael
away.
Jackson had been in prison, like if he was an average person and he had been in prison,
We would have hated him.
you know what's something? He probably wouldn't still be around.
No.
The other inmates would have taken care of him.
Okay. I know we're going to talk to the KMOX sports fella.
Oh, yeah, Matt Pauley.
I'm going to read the teams very quickly, and then Matt Pauley can vote for Team 1 or Team 2. Team 1, Prince, Freddie Mercury, Frank Sinatra, Michael Jackson, George Michael, Whitney Houston, Beethoven. Team 2, John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix, Elvis, Kurt Cobain, Notorious B.I.G., Mozart, and Jim Morrison.
Sports fella Matt Pauley, which team is better?
Team 1.
Wow.
Are you saying that because you know it's Amy?
No.
No, I didn't. I was but even before she read them off, I was looking at the tweet. So again, like you alluded to some of the off-stage stuff with Michael Jackson, and but from a performance standpoint, there's been maybe no better performer ever.
That,
Prince,
I
you
love
can
that.
kind of put into that
Prince.
exact same
Yeah.
category. Yeah, I think really from no other reason those two. And then I mean Whitney Houston, her voice when she is belting it, does it get better than
No.
that? And you know, I think I'd have to pick this one. My wife is a huge Sinatra fan, so
Mhm.
she would probably be upset with me if I didn't go with that one. So I think it's those four. Like, yeah, I guess it'd be cool to see Beethoven, but whatever. George Michael,
What
Freddie
about
Mercury,
Mozart, though?
It's
Oh, come
same
on.
thing.
Oh, come on.
Same thing.
Mozart
I'd
way
like to see
better
John.
than
Okay, it's like
Beethoven.
Team 2. The people that made me think for at least a second on Team 2 were Lennon,
Yeah.
Hendrix, Elvis.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Did you hesitate on Lennon because you knew if you saw him, Yoko would be there too?
No, see, okay, when I think Lennon, what I'm really thinking is like the Beatles in full.
It would not be the Beatles. You couldn't do that. That was off limits. It had to be John
Oh.
Lennon.
Then that puts Team 2 down a notch again.
I need to say something about Yoko Ono.
Mm-hmm.
I think now she seems like a really affable person and probably fun and funny. I've seen her in interviews and she seems like she's okay. But if you did not watch the Get Back documentary on Disney Plus, it's like just there's no narration. It is just hours and hours of the Beatles sitting around recording Let It Be. Okay, the album.
It's unbelievable.
And she is there
It's so
the whole
weird.
time, sitting directly next to him the entire time, when the rest of it's just the four guys
Yeah.
and her.
Do you know
Like,
what?
if I were in the room, I'd be like, all right, it's cool if you're here for a couple hours, but get the hell out of here. We're
I
trying
know,
to work.
I know, and I'm like a big fan of like, you support your spouse and all of that, but it would be like,
If Mason Jar came and sat on your lap while you were hosting,
yeah,
I'd be like, look, Mason, you seem like a nice fella. I'm trying to work here. Go home.
yeah, no. I wasn't even thinking of that. I was thinking more of it would be like if the 99 Rams, they did an HBO documentary on the 99 Rams, and they're in the locker room, and you have Torrey Holt and Kurt Warner, and they're sitting there, but then Brenda Warner is sitting next to Kurt the entire time in the locker room. You're making a face.
I mean, well, yeah.
I know what
Right.
happened because she was the Yoko Ono.
Who?
Brenda Warner.
She didn't break up the Rams. What are you talking about?
Okay, I don't know. If I said something inappropriate, I'm just saying it would be so weird if she were in the locker room.
Well, that's it. We're talking to Brenda Warner again. Hey, listen, we're going to get in trouble with the Atlanta person for laughing.
I'm sorry.
So shut it.
I'm sorry.
Matt,
you
we
laugh
got
too much?
No,
Yeah,
we got
people
in
hate
trouble.
it.
Somebody texted in from Atlanta, which there's a newsworthy element to Atlanta as it pertains to sports. But before we get to that, we're laughing too much. And
Okay, so
I
I
do
have
laugh
to
too much.
wonder. You guys talked. I'm generally a pretty nice guy. I put on my jerk hat the other day because there is someone who calls into Sports Open Line and they're never listening to the show. They just want to like have their it's like I'm the library answer line. So that doesn't really work. You know, if you want, I love callers, but contribute to the conversation
I
that we were
agree.
having at the time.
I agree.
And so this person called up the other day, and it was a commercial break, and sports producer extraordinaire Matt Pajeski was being very nice to them. And I said, Matt, give me the phone. And I talked to him, and I said, I'd love for you to listen to the show, and I'd love for you to participate. But if you're just calling to talk about random things, I'm not putting your phone call on the air. And that person goes, well, I'm in Atlanta. So I have to wonder, is there any chance that that person is the same person that texted you?
Yeah.
I think it has to be.
There's only one unpleasant person in Atlanta,
It's that person.
and it's that person.
Atlanta's a pretty fun town.
I've
been there.
never been to Atlanta.
So it's it's like here, but there's a lot of stuff to do and it's a little warmer.
Can we go back to John Lennon?
What about him?
I don't know. We
Are
didn't
you
finish
guys
the thought.
not to like totally move on here? Are you aware that there is a little bit of Cardinals breaking news today?
Go tell us what it is.
Holiday has resigned his position as a bench coach.
Oh, he did?
What?
Yes.
Why?
Right now, it is being said that it is due to family reasons. It has nothing
Oh.
to do with the Cardinals. He has just made the decision that he wants to spend more time with his family. And Ron, you'll probably appreciate this one. They've already hired his replacement, and that is Joe McEwing. I say that because
Oh,
McEwing's
I know
a
Joe
lot of time with the
McEwing.
White Sox.
That's right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Great dude.
Yeah.
So not that he's going to go manage an MLB team, which is what a lot of
No.
bench coaches do. They leave the
No,
Cardinals
he has
and they
just
go
made the
manage.
decision to
Wow.
not do the job and be more with his family.
Wow. So Matt, it didn't happen very long. That's okay. Well, interesting.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like totally derail your John Lennon conversation, but I
Well,
thought
it
that
would
might
be
important
nice
for
if
the
somebody
moment.
had told us.
Yeah.
We're in here trying to
Entertain the people.
We're trying to entertain everybody in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And If nobody tells us Matt Holliday has resigned, how
yeah.
are we supposed to know?
Because we're engaged.
We're engaging.
We're trying to find our favorite dead musicians
We're
that we would
giggling.
like to see live, not live because it
Live.
would both. And we didn't know about Matt Holliday, and we were just trying to keep the people of Atlanta entertained.
So I mean, everything's okay, right? Like, is everything okay with his family? Do we know that much?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really breaking news. I mean, this is less than 15 minutes old, so it's hard to get much information. The Cardinals just made the announcement. They're shuffling up the coaching staff a little bit more with kind of changing out some responsibilities and bringing some more people on. But the big headlines: Holiday out and McEwing in. Both Katie Wu from The Athletic and Bob Nightingale from USA Today have each tweeted out that it has absolutely nothing to do with the Cardinals. There's nothing bad going on. It's just him simply wanting to have a desire to be able to spend more time with his family.
Well, that's too bad. But on the other hand, I really do like Joe McEwing, and he tends to be pretty popular amongst players. So I would think nothing has changed there. He was a fan favorite here for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think from a coaching staff perspective, if we go back to the conversations we were having when the job was first open, something I said was I was really hoping that Oliver Marmol would hire somebody with a ton of major league coaching experience, maybe somebody who's even been a major league manager. McEwing's never been a major league manager, but he was a minor league manager.
Of experience,
He's been a big league bench coach
Yep.
for a long time. He's interviewed, I think, for the Cardinals managerial job a couple times.
He's interviewed for
He's
multiple
seen it all.
jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, seen it
Over the
all,
years.
done it all. I think he adds to the staff. I think from a what they need perspective, where you still have a relatively young manager in Marmol, having a guy like Joe McEwing brings a lot to the table.
That's awesome. I mean, I hate to see Holiday go, but
Yeah.
I'm glad the replacement is there, and that's a really good replacement. Let me bring up the Atlanta thing one more time because I mentioned there is news. This is the home of the Chiefs. So you hear all the Kansas City Chiefs games here. If there is an AFC championship between the Chiefs and the Bills, it's going to be played in Atlanta. So neither team is going to get home field advantage. Is that the right call?
No, it's just, they're changing rules in the middle of this. They should have just gone with the whole winning percentage thing, and nobody would have been upset about it.
Why did they not go with the winning percentage? Just because it would have
I'm-
been a crapshoot anyway. You have to play the game.
Because they're trying to say that it wouldn't have been fair because they lost that Bengals Bills game, so the Bills didn't have the opportunity to be the number one seed because they could have been in that spot had they won that game. So because they didn't get the opportunity to play that game, they're trying to be fair, but they're just overthinking it as far as I'm concerned.
Let me ask you this: Have you guys probably have? I've never been to a Chiefs game at Arrowhead. All of my
I've been to one. It's
football
fun.
game experiences, NFL games, have been in the Dome. I mean, they've been
Yeah.
Rams games. And I went to a bunch of those, which was awesome. But there's something about an outdoor stadium now. Hopefully that changes. Mason Jar, a huge Chiefs fan, and so I'm hoping going to Arrowhead will be in the future because that's an incredible stadium. It's fun
It's
to
a
go.
great place to watch a game. So I haven't seen a Chiefs game there, but I covered a Big 12 championship game once there when K-State beat Oklahoma, and that, I mean, just the environment inside of that place. I think I've been to some other college football games there as well, if I remember correctly. It's a really cool place to watch a football game.
Yeah, I did go that one time. It was about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
What I remember is they tailgate right.
Yeah.
They do it right. Like, that's the one thing I will say. I'm not a Chiefs fan at all.
Because
I
you're a
think Patrick
Bears
Mahomes-
fan.
That's right. Mahomes is wonderful.
How
obviously.
does he compare to Fields?
He's better. He's better.
Can
than
I mention
Fields.
one more
Yeah.
thing to you guys real quick before you let me go?
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll just
No, let's
Yeah,
hear it.
go ahead.
Derek
Yeah, go ahead,
Gould-
Matt.
Derek Gould has spoken with Matt Holliday. So go read this at stltoday.com. Post-Dispatch probably tomorrow. Holliday said to Gould, quote, "When it came down to it, I just didn't want to miss all the things with my kids. In theory, 4 months out of it seemed like something I wanted. 4 months ago, it seemed like something I wanted. As it got closer, I just felt like I stopped playing in the majors because I didn't want to miss all the things you miss. When you say yes to something, you say no to something else."
Hey, you know what? I absolutely respect that because I think all of us have reached a decision at some point in our lives that's not nearly as involved as the one
Right.
he made to coach, and thought, yeah, this is what I want to do. You sign the papers, and then you think about it and you go, oh, I don't know. Maybe this is not a bad idea or not a great idea
you,
for me. So maybe that's what happened, and that's okay.
Are you talking
Am
about?
I regretting this?
Yes.
With you?
Yes.
Everything's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Matt, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay.
I felt like I completely took over this.
No,
segment.
but
I'm sorry.
you
You're
should have
supposed to.
said
You're the
something
sports
because
guy. Yeah.
Nobody else is helping.
We're all alone in this studio,
Yeah,
cut
no
off
one's
from
helping.
the world.
Matt Pauley, what's on Sports Open Line tonight?
Just a 45-minute edition of the program due to SLU Billikens women's basketball, and I can tell you that we'll be spending some time talking about the bench coach position.
Fantastic. Matt Pauley, Sports Open Line at 6 bells tonight. We're looking forward to it. Thank you, friend.
You bet.
Matt Pauley. He is
KMOX sports fella.
he is our sports fella, and I'm right now looking to see what his Twitter handle is because I don't remember it off the top of my head. And I did. It's Matt Pauley on air. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Pauley on air.
And while you're on Twitter, at the show KMOX, follow us and vote for your favorite dead musicians
Favorite dead musicians you wish you could see live
or live.
or live both. They need to live to be live, wouldn't they? Amy Markscores and Chris Ranji on KMOX.
Hi, Kent Newbold for Newbold BMW. Your BMW is worth more than ever before, so don't trust your maintenance to a bunch of amateurs. Come see the factory-trained technicians at Newbold BMW in O'Fallon, Illinois, or at newboldbmw.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
My name is Vincent, and I've been in the field of nutrition and dietetics for 30 years. And what I realized as a nutritionist, I was trying to get all my fruits and vegetables in, but I would be so preoccupied with trying to do things, I would forget to eat. So all of a sudden, it's the end of the day, and I haven't had my fruits and vegetables. I think a lot of people are in that situation. I found Balance of Nature, and I looked at the ingredients, and I thought, this is exactly what I need. And so after trying it for about a week, I'm not a morning person, but I started getting up early, and I started feeling better because I had more energy. I think, of course, as a nutritionist, it's best to get all you can from your diet. But it wasn't until I started taking Balance of Nature that I started noticing a difference. So that's when I thought, okay, there's something about Balance of Nature that I need to tell the world about. So here I am.
Jumpstart your journey to better health for the new year and get $25 off plus a free fiber and spice when you use discount code ARCH.
We all dream about retirement, and especially about having a comfortable retirement. The problem is, we're just not sure how to make it happen. That's why every week, Steve All of the All Financial Group offers tips and strategies designed to help you achieve your financial goals that you've set for your retirement years.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
Join Steve for the All Financial Hour every Saturday morning at 10, right here on KMOX.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com. For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
Chris Ranji
Wonderful bones, great eyes, and you dress really interesting.
on the show.
Chris Ranji, Amy Markscores. Hey man, you almost left.
I almost pulled an Amy. Amy, here's what Amy does.
Okay, I
like
didn't
the
do
show,
it.
the show starts. It's like starting, and Amy is like, I'm getting ready to hit the on button to
Uh-huh.
start talking,
Mhm.
and Amy is just now walking in the door because
No.
she's busy jibber jabbing with people.
I was talking to Andrew.
Jibber jabbing.
Well, you know what
Or
it
is
is?
jibber jabbering? Whatever it is, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, it was Andrew for sure. Definitely his fault.
Text messages 314-436-7900. We just heard the news from Matt Pauley, our sports fella, who says Matt Holliday has resigned his position as bench coach for the Cardinals. A very short-lived position for him. He decided that he didn't want to take the time away from his family, so he is not going to do that. Joe McEwing, former Cardinal and longtime major league coach. He's been coaching for a long time. And as Matt said, I am familiar with Joe from the White Sox days. He's great. I really, really like Joe McEwing. So he's going to be a nice addition to the coaching staff. But this text message says, Matt Holliday succinctly describes opportunity costs. Philosopher extraordinaire. Well, I mean, I think that happens with people, and I don't mind it, because sometimes you think about a life decision. You spend a lot of time thinking about the life decision. You commit to it. You go, okay, I'm going to do this. And then you make the call, you finalize it, and then you start to think even more. And you're like, wait a minute, maybe this wasn't the right thing for me at this time. So I get that. If that's what happened, I totally get that with him, and I wish him the best.
You know who stuck to his guns for opportunity costs? Tom Brady.
You're right.
Yeah, because
You're right.
his wife, Giselle, wanted him to retire from football, and he did not. And it looks like, according to whatever it is we've read, that was a major reason why they are no longer married, or they're not. Are they divorced yet?
I thought they got divorced and back together, and maybe they're divorced again. I don't know. There's a lot going on there. This text message from a 618 says, when I was a teen raised near Philadelphia, I used to implore my mother to take me to Atlantic City so I could see the Rat Pack. Her response, you have your whole life ahead of you to do things like that. Yeah, Mom, I have my whole life ahead of me, but not theirs.
That's pretty good.
I have kept that as a motivator to take my kids to meaningful events when opportunity presents itself.
Very, very cool.
And that's true because I've done that too with big shows like, I'm not going to go see these guys this year. I'll wait till next. Well, what if they stop touring? Or,
Right.
What if one of them dies?
I'm grateful. Like, I did get to see the Rolling Stones back in 2010. I mean, I think we've all had an opportunity to see the Rolling Stones. So good for them. But my dad, he has a t-shirt that says, like, I may be old, but at least I got to see all the great bands live. And he was a big music guy, and all of the festivals that he went to and the concerts, some of the most iconic bands in rock history, he got to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done more of that. And like I mentioned the Prince thing earlier, where I had a few opportunities to go see him. I never had the chance to go, do the intimate setting thing that, my friend who's in the Prince fan club got to do. But I kind of poo-pooed it. I'm like, I don't know if I want to. And this was 15 or so years ago. And now I really wish I had taken advantage of that.
How old were you when you saw Michael Jackson?
5th grade.
Okay. So do you remember it clearly?
I remember kinda. I remember the part where they do the Smooth Criminal and the suit and the hat and all that stuff.
Because I had opportunities when I was younger, and I feel like even though it was so cool, you don't have the perspective to appreciate exactly what you're seeing.
Yeah.
So in 94, I guess I was 10, maybe just turned 11. I did get to go to the World Cup in Chicago, and we saw a World Cup game at Soldiers Field. And I remember moments of it. I remember our seats like way at one end of Soldiers Field, like just, the very, very end, and not
It's
great
just Soldier
seats.
Field, Amy.
Soldier Field. Sorry. One very, very end. It's also Governor Parson, not Parsons. I make a lot of things plural that shouldn't be. And then I
But so
also,
do people in Chicago. They can't
Do
pronounce
they?
anything either.
Really?
No, that's true. Yeah.
well, and then I also
Like
remember.
Comiskey Park. Kaminsky? Hey, I'm going to Kaminsky Park.
Wait, there's no
Gonna go
N?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was Kaminsky.
Well, that's okay. You live here. You don't
Okay.
live there. I'd say 30% of the population of Chicago doesn't know there's no N in Comiskey.
Wow. I would
It's
have
weird.
written it
They
out
can't
with an
pronounce
N.
anything up there. It's
Interesting.
awesome.
I belong there then, I guess.
Yes, you did.
But that, and I remember fans, and it was definitely a South American team. I can't remember. But
Brazil.
I know it wasn't Brazil, but it was anyway,
Argentina.
maybe. And just the paint and the the face paint, and then the feathers and all of the accoutrement all over these fans. And it was incredible. I mean, it was the most colorful, exciting atmosphere ever. But I didn't have the perspective that I would have now.
Yeah.
That I went to a World Cup game.
Yeah. It's right. But at least you can say you did it, right?
Yeah.
But you do wish that you could.
I could have understood how
yes.
unique it was. Like, you may never, and most likely will never go to another World Cup game.
That you could appreciate it a little bit better. We were told to pass along this information. If you want to go to winter warm-up, John Mozeliak will be speaking to the crowd at 10:15 on Saturday. So winter warm-up is this weekend at Ballpark Village on the Bill DeWitt the third called it the Cardinals campus.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's going to happen. 10:15, Mo will be speaking on Saturday. You're listening to KMOX.
Hi, it's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000, 12990 Manchester Road, just a half mile west of 270. I was there this year for my annual eye health examination, and I'm so happy that I did. Not only is my vision in good shape, but now I have peace of mind that I have good health. You see, an eye health examination can detect many health issues like diabetes or high blood pressure. So it's nice to know that they were able to check me over. Also, it was covered by my medical insurance, and I did not realize that the first time that I went for an annual eye exam. So that's terrific. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer, very thankful for them. Ophthalmology Associates, the doctors, 314-966-5000. You should also schedule your eye exam and reach out to them. And when you do, tell them that Tom Ackerman sent you to Ophthalmology Associates. Also online at youridoc.com.
How would you like to put your car payments on ice for the next few months? Then head to St. Charles Nissan. That's right, make no payments until April when you upgrade this month at St. Charles Nissan. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or service, St. Charles Nissan is giving you amazing savings all winter long. Hurry in today and no car payments until April. St. Charles Nissan, conveniently located a quarter mile east of Mid-Rivers Mall Drive off 70 or online at stcharlesnissan.com. Interest, if any, accrues during the deferral period, expires month's end.
Football's biggest game of the year is coming up February 12th. But if you're looking to travel in 2023, the biggest day of the year for you is February 4th. It's AAA Travel Marketplace. It's the super big, can't miss travel event of the year. AAA Travel Marketplace features tons of cruise and tour partners all under one roof with limited time special offers for huge savings on your next dream vacation. AAA Travel Marketplace, Saturday, February 4th, 9 a.m. till noon at the Holiday Inn at Watson and Lindbergh in Sunset Hills. Get all the info at AAA.com/travel show.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
I hate winter, but as a kid, I used to love it snowing. And my dog, when it snows, he's just like me being a little Hoosier. When it snows, we wake up and we would just run outside. We didn't care what we had on and just run around and build snowmen and roll around in the snow. He does the exact same thing. He can't build snowmen. He wants to do snow angels. But if you can picture this, he's a big German Shepherd, all right? He's good size. But he's got little legs and little arms. He doesn't know he's a dog, but he wants to make snow angels, so he tries his best. And he just ends up just rolling around in circles for the longest time. You got to love it. With that being said, keep the calls coming. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. That's Bart Inman, 314-293-2600. And BartInman.com. That is a B for Bart. Otherwise, Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 noon, there's some fog and 37 degrees downtown FE Arch. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour, Attorney General Merrick Garland may announce a special counsel this hour to investigate whether President Joe Biden mishandled classified information during his time in private life. Sources tell Bloomberg News. The president says
the Department of Justice was immediately notified. And the lawyers arranged for the Department of Justice to take possession of the document.
Republicans have been calling for such an appointment after documents with classification markings were found in at least 2 locations that Biden used after he served as vice president and before he became president.
They discovered a small number of documents of classified markings in storage areas and file cabinets in my home and my personal library.
According to Bloomberg News, Garland has considered the appointment of a special counsel to oversee the investigation, as he did in the case of documents seized from former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. Garland plans to make the statement at 12:15 Central Time. We will carry that live for you right here on KMOX. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says the House needs to investigate the classified documents found.
Here's an individual that's been in office for more than 40 years. Here's an individual that sat on 60 Minutes that was so concerned about President Trump's documents locked in behind, and now we find it just as a vice president, keeping it for years out in the open in different locations.
KMOX is getting St. Louis acquainted with the new police chief. In an exclusive interview on Total Information AM, Chief Robert Tracy was asked about pay raises for officers and whether he's talked with the mayor about it.
Right now, the city's in contract talks with the unions and everything. So it would be, it would not be a good time for me to ever comment on that. The conversations that I have with the mayor are pretty privileged and confidential as far as we're doing that. And it wouldn't be a good place. I'm coming in the middle of it.
Mayor Tashara Jones.
Well, I'm going to repeat what Chief Tracy said. We're in the middle of union negotiations right now, and this isn't the time to have that conversation. We cannot negotiate in public. However, I will say that I have also done some research on Chief Tracy in Wilmington, and he also dealt with neighboring counties that offered more pay, and those officers decide to stay because they had job satisfaction.
Gunfire in the streets below frightens residents of a Washington Avenue loft. KMOX's Kevin Killeen is there.
The gunfire shattered some windows on the 8-story posh and ornate Eli Walker lofts at 15th and Washington. Residents walking their dogs say they're getting tired of all the gunfire in the streets and the squealing tires. They want more police patrols and in-building security.
The KMOX business desk want to buy a lunch spot.
Subway is said to be exploring a potential sale. A deal could value the chain at more than $10 billion. Sources telling Bloomberg the process is still in the early stages. Subway is one of the world's largest quick-service restaurants with about 37,000 locations. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel's up 300 points to 34,273. And we've got a crash on Jennings Station at Interstate 70. Also, a stalled vehicle 70 east before 370 in the right lane. 70 west past Tucker, the right lane is closed. And 270 west at McDonald Boulevard, the left lane is closed.
Damp with some bits of rain or drizzle. Some snowflakes could mix in. We're seeing those temperatures starting to fall back through the 30s. Tonight, there could be some flurries and some slick spots as temperatures end up in the mid-upper 20s. Tomorrow's back up to 37 with sun and clouds. A nice start to the weekend as we're getting back up into the upper 40s Saturday and then mid-50s on Sunday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Steve DeVore in the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
At the moment, it's a cloudy sky, 37 in Florissant, 38 in St. Peters, and some fog, 37 degrees downtown at the Arch. A reminder, we will be carrying the Attorney General Merrick Garland making a statement, we believe, according to Bloomberg, about the classified documents that have been found in the possession of President Joe Biden. That's coming up at 12:15 on KMOX. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ronji on the show on KMOX. We've done a lot today. By the way, one very big piece of news that we have to get to. The Department of Justice and Attorney General Merrick Garland going to hold a press conference here in about 10 minutes or so. We are going to carry it live. It is in regard to the classified documents found on Joe Biden's property and in his office, the Penn Biden Center. Those documents were turned over to the National Archives. The National Archives were notified of them when a Biden team people found them, and we're going to find out what happens next. The Department of Justice to hold a press conference. We will carry it live here on KMOX.
What's funny is my gut reaction to the 10 documents, classified documents that were found at the Penn Biden Center. It's a big deal, but the fact that Biden's attorneys, personal attorneys, to immediately turn those over to the Department of Justice, they were cooperating. I felt like that was a big part of what separated the different scandals regarding classified documents. Obviously, the 300 plus documents found in Mar-a-Lago versus the 10 that were found at the Penn Biden Center. This second batch that were found in Biden's personal home in Wilmington, in the garage, as well as in an adjacent room.
A little more
That's
problematic.
not great. That's
more problematic.
Way more problematic. Now, the cooperation, still a huge part, but Biden last summer during the Mar-a-Lago debacle had said, like, how could anyone possibly be so careless with classified documents? We have to investigate this. Okay, this finding more documents at his personal home, that does strike me as different.
It is that it's careless if it's
Yeah.
a member of his team. I can't imagine that Trump or Biden, either one of them, knew about every single piece of paper that left office when they left office.
Right.
It just wouldn't be possible for that to be true. But how certain papers maybe slip into different files and don't belong there, I have questions about that.
Yeah,
Like,
and-
I'd like to know. And I think it's okay to acknowledge that there are very clear differences between how it was handled by both parties. Trump tried not to turn over stuff. He didn't want to. He eventually had to be subpoenaed. There was like a year-plus process where they tried to get those documents back. Biden allegedly has, when they found them, have turned them over. You can acknowledge those things, but also acknowledge that it's still not good. It's still
No, they're
careless.
both hugely problematic. And I do think
I think one could be worse than the other. If you have one party who's refusing and pushing back against giving those documents back, I do think that is clearly worse.
Sure.
But they're both problematic.
They're both problematic. And again, Biden, not great with words sometimes. Just to say, like, to be so personally offended and appalled at the documents at Mar-a-Lago, which is appalling and should not be there. But then to say, well, I mean, these documents that you found at my home, well, they were locked in my garage with my Corvette, so they weren't on the street. Don't try to make light of it. Your personal attorneys turned them in. That was the right thing to do. You can still speak of that with the same gravity that you spoke about the Mar-a-Lago document. Say this is unacceptable and we're going to investigate it. The Department of Justice is going to investigate it. Don't now try to downplay and say, well, my Corvette's in there, so, I keep it locked. Come on,
I mean,
man.
I agree with you. Both things can be true, and it's okay to acknowledge all of them. But it's got to be investigated, and I'll be very curious. A couple of things here. One, what sorts of documents? We know they're classified, but what kind of classified documents are we talking about? We spoke to Major Garrett earlier today. All of the interviews we do on the show, you can go back and listen to on the Odyssey app or KMOX.com. The podcast page and everything is there for you. You can go back and listen. So, as he said, it could be really bad stuff. It could be stuff that probably shouldn't be classified. I'd like to know what it is.
Sure.
How much of it there actually is, and what happens next. And maybe some of those answers we'll get today in a few minutes.
Right. Because again, as they were looking at the documents, we don't know what they found in the possession of Joe Biden. We do know with Trump that they were classified. Some were top secret. Some were SCIF documents, which is a huge deal.
It means you have to be in a room to view them, and they never leave that room.
Yes, the sensitive compartmented information facility. I mean, that's a huge deal. So more, we will take that press conference with Attorney General Merrick Garland at 12:15.
Also, we spoke to Bill DeWitt III, president of the Cardinals, with winter warm-up coming up this weekend. And I got the sense that, yes, they were open to the possibility of making another move, but it certainly didn't sound like they were going to. It sounded like this is going to be the team, and they're going to give the young players a chance and see what happens. That's the impression I got. You want to go back and listen to that interview when the show is over. It will be on the podcast page on the Odyssey app or KMOX.com. Also, we did our draft.
Yes, we did.
Musicians that are dead, you wish were still alive, and you could see them play live, perform live. Go vote who had the best team on Twitter at the show KMOX. When we come back, we expect to hear from the Department of Justice and Merrick Garland regarding the Biden classified documents found on his property. That is coming up here on KMOX.
Well, the Salvation Army continues to love beyond Christmas, love beyond the holiday season. With their Tree of Lights campaign, I've got my red kettle, my virtual red kettle still up. So maybe you didn't make it to the grocery store to put your contribution into the red kettle where the bell ringers were at Schnucks or Deerbergs and stores all across the area. Well, you can still contribute to the Salvation Army and their Tree of Lights campaign through my virtual red kettle at salarmy.us/Amy Mark Scores. It's super easy. If you've got your phone, you're on your computer, your laptop, salarmy.us/ tree-of-lights.us/Amy Mark Scores. We're creeping up to that $10,000 mark. And what I'm so excited about with the Tree of Lights campaign is that all of that money that we raise stays right here in St. Louis to help our community, to help our neighbors. I love that when you contribute to the Salvation Army, whether it was $1, $10, $50, whatever it may be, you truly are helping those who live right in our own neighborhoods, right in our own communities. So again, for the final push for the Tree of Lights campaign, salarmy.us/Amy Mark Scores.
Tom Ackerman sees clearly thanks to doctors Birdie and Malholtra. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today or call 314-966-5000.
Quarters, just 25 cents. That's hardly anything, right? But Ken and Lori Heisey and their team at Heisey Advisory Group see quarters a little bit differently. A quarter is a lot when it's a quarter of your retirement savings. Do you want to pay 25% or more in taxes during your retirement? Ken and Lori can create a plan to help address taxes in retirement. And if the only time you think about taxes is when you file them, you do not have a tax strategy. But it's not too late to get one with help from Ken and Lori Heisey. Act now to make sure you're not paying a quarter, a dime, even a penny more than you should. Call Ken and Lori Heisey and the team at Heisey Advisory Group at 314-328-4400 to schedule your personalized strategy session. A quarter saved is a quarter earned. Call 314-328-4400. Call them now. That's 314-328-4400.
Firm cannot give tax advice. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
What if everything you got came with a little bit of money? Spicy chicken ramen with a side of quarters, a full tank of gas, and a $5 bill, an entire pantry's worth of groceries, and a pocket full of cash. Well, then you'd be living life on the upside. The first platform that gives you real cash back in real life wherever you roll. Restaurants, grocery stores, gas stations, all cashback opportunities. So order the expensive appetizer, buy a little extra at the store, fill your gas tank till the pump stops. Because with Upside, you can. Start earning cash back just for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code SPICY for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code SPICY. Promo code SPICY. SPICY for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Start living life on the upside with the free Upside app.
All the news and all that matters to you. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Amy and Chris on the show on KMOX. We expect momentarily for a press conference with Attorney General Merrick Garland to commence in regard to the classified documents found in Joe Biden's office at Penn Biden and also in his garage, a personal garage. We don't know exactly how many documents, the nature of the classified documents, how they got there, or what comes next. Hopefully we'll get some of those answers. And I think you and I both agree that it has to be investigated because that's not, regardless of how they got to where they are, I think as citizens, I don't think we want certain classified materials. I mean, some are worse than others, right? Some are more dangerous or more sensitive than others. I think we can acknowledge there's a sliding scale, but you don't want things that shouldn't be in places where they could be compromised to be there. We don't want those things. So we want our public servants to be more mindful of where this stuff ends up and how it gets to where it gets, right? I know a government deals with tens of thousands of documents, hundreds of thousands of documents. I'm sure it's easy to misplace things here and there, but can't do it. Can't do it. You got to be careful.
Yeah. I just think this situation has escalated in severity because the 10 documents found at the Ben Biden Center from when he was vice president. Okay, we're looking at it. The personal attorneys found it. They turned it over. Finding all of these additional documents at his home in Wilmington, in his garage, stacked next to his Corvette. Again, there's something. It's just the juxtaposition that doesn't help.
All right, so let's send it to the press conference now. And here's Attorney General Merrick Garland.
Pursuant to Department of Justice regulations governing such matters. In keeping with those regulations, I have today notified the designated members of each House of Congress of the appointment. I'm joined today by John Lausch, the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, who conducted the initial investigation into the matter that I will describe today. On the evening of November 4th, 2022, the National Archives Office of Inspector General contacted a prosecutor at the Department of Justice. It informed him that the White House had notified the archives that documents bearing classification markings were identified at the office of the Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement, located in Washington, D.C. That office was not authorized for storage of classified documents. The prosecutor was also advised that those documents had been secured in an archives facility. On November 9th, the FBI commenced an assessment consistent with standard protocols to understand whether classified information had been mishandled in violation of federal law. On November 14th, pursuant to Section 600.2B of the Special Counsel Regulations, I assigned U.S. Attorney Lausch to conduct an initial investigation to inform my decision whether to appoint a special counsel. Mr. Lausch has served as the U.S. Attorney in Chicago since 2017. Before that, he spent more than a decade as an assistant U.S. Attorney in that same office. I selected him to conduct the initial investigation because I was confident his experience would ensure that it would be done professionally and expeditiously. On December 20th, President Biden's personal counsel informed Mr. Lausch that additional documents bearing classification markings were identified in the garage of the president's private residence in Wilmington, Delaware. President Biden's counsel informed Mr. Lausch that those documents were among other records from the period of the president's service as vice president. The FBI went to the location and secured those documents. On January 5th, 2023, Mr. Lausch briefed me on the results of his initial investigation and advised me that further investigation by a special counsel was warranted. Based on Mr. Lausch's initial investigation, I concluded that, under the special counsel regulations, it was in the public interest to appoint a special counsel. In the days since, while Mr. Lausch continued the investigation, the department identified Mr. Hur for appointment as special counsel. This morning, President Biden's personal counsel called Mr. Lausch and stated that an additional document bearing classification markings was identified at the president's personal residence in Wilmington, Delaware. When I first contacted Mr. Lausch about this matter, he said he could lead the initial investigation, but would be unable to accept any longer-term assignment because he would be leaving the department in early 2023 for the private sector. U.S. Attorney Lausch and his team of prosecutors and agents have conducted this initial investigation with professionalism and speed. I am grateful to them. Earlier today, I signed an order appointing Robert Hur as special counsel for the matter I've just described. The document authorizes him to investigate whether any person or entity violated the law in connection with this matter. The special counsel will not be subject to the day-to-day supervision of any official of the department, but he must comply with the regulations, procedures, and policies of the department. Mr. Hur has a long and distinguished career as a prosecutor. In 2003, he joined the department's criminal division, where he worked on counterterrorism, corporate fraud, and appellate matters. From 2007 until 2014, Mr. Hur served as an assistant U.S. attorney for the District of Maryland, where he prosecuted matters ranging from violent crime to financial fraud. In 2017, Mr. Hur rejoined the department as the Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General. In 2018, he was nominated and confirmed to serve as a U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland. As U.S. Attorney, he supervised some of the department's more important national security, public corruption, and other high-profile matters. I will ensure that Mr. Hur receives all the resources he needs to conduct his work. As I have said before, I strongly believe that the normal processes of this department can handle all investigations with integrity. But under the regulations, the extraordinary circumstances here require require the appointment of a special counsel for this matter. This appointment underscores for the public the department's commitment to both independence and accountability in particularly sensitive matters, and to making decisions indisputably guided only by the facts and the law. I am confident that Mr. Herr will carry out his responsibility in an even-handed and urgent manner and in accordance with the highest traditions of this department. Thank you all.
Have you ever spoken to the president about this investigation, sir?
All right, so that's the Attorney General Merrick Garland. They are not taking questions, and if memory serves, same thing happened with President Trump's press conference the first time they held one. I think he just came out, spoke, and announced the special counsel and left. Like, just made a quick announcement there. But we just heard from the Department of Justice on the Biden documents, the classified documents found at his personal garage and also at an office at the Penn Biden Center.
Yes. So the timeline was November 4th. The National Archives Inspector General contacted a prosecutor at the Department of Justice saying that the White House had notified them about classified documents at the Penn Biden Center. November 9th, the FBI conducted a standard assessment on whether or not those documents had been mishandled according to federal law. On November 14th, Merrick Garland spoke with U.S. Attorney Loesch about whether or not to appoint a special counsel. December 20th, the Department of Justice was notified that additional documents marked classified had been found at Joe Biden's Delaware home. January 5th, the Attorney General Loesch briefed, the U.S. Loesch briefed Attorney General Garland that the special counsel was continuing their investigation, found additional materials, and of course now Robert Hur will be taking over for the special counsel.
Well, they've got to investigate it, and they have to treat it seriously because things of this nature are serious. So Robert Hur is with a DC law firm. He is also the former U.S. attorney for the District of Maryland. He was appointed by President Trump. I'm not sure if you mentioned that as well. And also Deputy Attorney General, Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General. So they're going to look into it, and they have to. And public servants, look, a president, a vice president, everybody in Congress, they're public servants, which means, Amy, they serve us because we are the public. And things like this, I understand some things can fall through the cracks, but some of those things that fall through the cracks should never fall through cracks. Everything that is sensitive, and we don't know how sensitive these documents are. And as, again, I'll reiterate this, as Major Garrett said to us earlier, there are levels of classified documents. There are some that maybe shouldn't be classified. There are some that are highly sensitive. There's a sliding scale here. And depending on what these documents are, will speak to the severity of it, but it doesn't matter. It can't happen. Can't happen. Got to be more careful.
Okay, this is just, and I know you have the Department of Justice, you have people working in these positions, they're investigating just highly sensitive matters all the time. That's their job. But it's so interesting that it was back on November 4th, right? Unbeknownst to all of us that these classified, highly sensitive documents had been found at the Penn Biden Center. What are you thinking just from like a human perspective? Do you know what I mean? Don't you think somebody involved with the matter had to know, man, when this hits the public, this is going to be a big deal. And then when additional documents are found, they know they're going to have to address the public with this information. And I don't care who you are as a politician, as an attorney, whatever it may be, your job in the federal government, local government, law enforcement, just as a human, don't you have to think, man, this is going to be a big deal when it hits the public?
Absolutely.
How could you not think that? Like back in November going, oh my gosh,
exactly.
This is not good.
And that's how I feel about it. It's almost like if you have political adversaries, then let's just be honest. Our politics is worse than at any point in my life in terms of the relationships being adversarial. there's nothing close to the last 5 years. And I think it's progressively gotten worse, but it has been really bad in the last 5 years. When you feel as a member of one political party like you have something on the other party, like this is what they're doing wrong, and we know this, and look at them, you need to behave in a nearly perfect manner. You can't have mistakes. You can't have slip-ups. You can't criticize the other guy for doing something wrong and then, wait a minute, I may have done the same thing. Can't have that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be better. Yeah, everybody has to be better. And you would hope that what this would do, something like this would serve as a lesson to all of them. Then maybe we need to take a step back and cool it just a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as our vitriol toward the other side.
And maybe I'm an anomaly here or naive, but my first reaction wasn't even through a partisan lens. Like, I mean, if you're a public servant, especially if you're someone who's behind the scenes, you care about the country, right? You're not just trying to get a big speaking gig on Fox News or MSNBC, where, you know, you're working in the Department of Justice or you're U.S. attorney. And just from a American standpoint, knowing this is gonna cause so much trouble.
Yes.
It's kind of how I felt, to be honest, when the leak from the Supreme Court about the Dobbs decision. My first reaction had nothing to do with whether or not Roe would be overturned. My first reaction was, oh my gosh, this is going to be bad for the country. You know, I felt
about
sad
the news?
about the news and the hyper-partisanship and the vitriol that would be released.
Do you mean the decision itself was going to be bad? Because that's the first thing I thought. Like, this is going to be bad for the country.
The leak and then the decision itself, whatever it was going to be, people were going to lose their minds. And it made me sad. Like, my first reaction was not about the decision being overturned. So kind of like this, if you know, I've got to look into these classified documents, but in the back of your mind isn't like, oh man, this is just adding more.
I think about that stuff too.
To a volatile situation.
Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji, let's hear from you. Your thoughts on what's happening now. 314-436-7900 or voicemail 944-1120 on KMOX.
The 26th Annual Cardinals Care Winter Warm-Up returns this coming weekend to Busch Stadium in Ballpark Village. Current and former players and coaches will be on hand, including MVP Paul Goldsmith, Nolan Arenado, Adam Wainwright, and the newest Cardinal, Wilson Contreras. Tickets on sale now at Cardinals.com. Can't be there in person? KMOX will broadcast live from Cardinals Nation Restaurant all 3 days, starting Saturday at 10. The Cardinals Care Winter Warm-Up live on KMOX and KMOX.com.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
I had heard about 3-day kitchen and bath. I kind of always dismissed it thinking, well, nobody can do that in 3 days. I wanted somebody who was going to come when they said they would come and, do what they said they were going to do. What I liked best was having it done in, less than a week, the whole thing from top to bottom. Nobody could believe that I really had it done that fast. They absolutely held up to every single thing that they agreed to. I especially loved the fact that I didn't have to go out all over town. The overall quality was very good. All the workmanship was so excellent. They'll definitely do exactly what they say they're going to do. There's no surprises, no added costs later. They stay until everything's exactly the way you want it, and you're done.
Thanks, Lori. Check us out online at 3daykitchen.com.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
Over 30 years ago, it was that can-do spirit which helped the founder of Reinhold Flooring start the business, installing Reinhold quality carpet and beautiful flooring himself. Now, Reinhold Flooring is still family-owned and operated and winning St. Louis Magazine's Best Flooring Store 2 years in a row. With Reinhold Flooring, it's not about the sale, it's about the amazing floor to perfectly match your house and your life. Customer-driven since day one. Visit ReinholdFlooring.com. With so many ideas you can do it with the can-do crew at Reinhold Flooring. ReinholdFlooring.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
It's 12:30, and at the moment, it's a cloudy sky and 37 degrees downtown at the Arch. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up, but first,
CBS News special report. The Justice Department just announced it's appointing a special counsel to oversee the investigation into documents marked classified found at President Biden's former think tank and home. Attorney General Merrick Garland says he's been working on the matter with U.S. Attorney John Lausch.
Based on Mr. Lausch's initial investigation, I concluded that under the special counsel regulations, it was in the public interest to appoint a special counsel.
That special counsel will be former U.S. Attorney Robert Hur, who has a long history of investigating everything from counterterrorism and violent crime to public corruption. Earlier today, President Biden commented on the discoveries.
People know I take classified documents and classified material seriously. I also said we're cooperating fully and completely with the Justice Department's review.
The Attorney General says the special counsel's investigation is expected to start in the coming days. CBS News special report. I'm Monica Ricks.
KMOX traffic. We've got blockage of the entrance ramp to 5570 West at 64 Illinois 3. We've also got a stalled vehicle on 21 West at 141 and 270 West at McDonald Boulevard. That's got the left lane closed there. And Dean DeVore says the rest of today into the afternoon, damp with some bits of rain or drizzle, maybe some snowflakes mixing in. Temperatures will fall back through the 30s this afternoon. It turns colder tonight with some flurries and slick spots developing. A low tonight 27. Tomorrow some sunshine and a high of 37. At the moment, it's 37 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars. Lose the weight and stop smoking. Only $49.99. Seminars Wednesday, February 1st at the Holiday Inn Express Suite St. Louis Airport in St. Louis. And Thursday, February 2nd at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Holiday decorations are down, but the Salvation Army loves beyond Christmas. I'm Amy Mark Scores. Help me support the work that provides food, shelter, and encouragement to our community. Donate at my virtual kettle, salarmy.us/Amy Mark Scores.
It's women's Billikens basketball action tonight as they take on Rhode Island. Pre-game 6:47, tip at 7 on your home for Billikens basketball. KMOX.
KMOX, and it's the show. It's Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji. We just listened into the press conference. Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, and the Department of Justice is looking into the classified documents on Biden's property, his personal garage. There were some found there. Also some found a couple of days ago. Well, we learned about it a couple of days ago at the Penn Biden Center in his office. There were some. His team notified the National Archives about the existence of those documents, and they're investigating. And we've had people who have texted into the show, and we want to hear from you. 314-436-7900. One texter says, I want them to investigate this as much as they are investigating Trump. I mean, it sounds like they kind of are. I mean, they're looking into it. I'm not sure what else should be done.
And for those, if you're wondering, well, why aren't they raiding Joe Biden's personal residence? Well, it's because Biden's personal attorneys immediately cooperated with the Department of Justice and the National Archives and voluntarily returned the classified documents immediately upon their discovery, whereas at Mar-a-Lago, and this is an important distinction, at Mar-a-Lago, it was requested that those documents be returned. They were not.
And they refused.
After repeated requests, and so they were retrieved by the FBI. And so, I mean, that's an important distinction. It doesn't in any way diminish the seriousness of the classified documents being at a personal residence.
And it doesn't excuse Biden.
It's just there's a difference with the cooperation is a big difference on how those documents, whether they were returned or they had to be retrieved. That's the difference.
Yeah, a texter to that point from a 314 says, BS. The difference is Trump had the right, Biden didn't. In some respects, that might be true, but he didn't have the right to just outright take whatever he wanted to his residence without going through the process of actual
then-
declassification. He didn't just have the right.
And that was a point that Major Garrett pointed out,
Right.
the difference between the president having access to classified documents. He does have the authority to declassify, although there is a declassification process that needs to be followed. And again, Trump's words were that he did it in his mind. Doesn't quite work, doesn't cut it. And also, there are certain levels of classification, whether it's classified or top secret, or it's a SCIF document that it's only supposed to be opened in a special like
Secure
compartment.
facility.
Yeah, secure facility.
Well, and also some of those things like nuclear weapons, like nuclear capabilities, those types of documents, a president cannot unilaterally decide they are unclassified. He has to also have it's the Department of Energy, and I can't remember the other entity that also has Department of Defense. I think 2 of the 3 have to sign off on it, or maybe all 3. But what I know for a fact is the president can't just say, "Yep, these are all declassified."
Yeah. And this is not a very sexy take, and I know everybody wants something that's big and scandalous, but the truth is usually not fabulous enough for all of us. And the take is just they can both be careless to the point of it being criminal. It is profoundly a bad precedent to set to have these classified documents being taken out of secure places, brought to personal residences, and both the actions or ignorance of Donald Trump and Joe Biden can be wrong, and you can still point out the meaningful distinctions between the 2 circumstances without diminishing the wrongness of either one.
Right.
I don't know why that's a hard concept to grasp. Now, and I will say, I think a year from now, especially 2 years from now, I don't think anyone's talking about either the documents at Mar-a-Lago or the documents that Biden found, because we get so bored with the news. We move on to the next thing. There will be something equally, if not more scandalous, to come across our way in the next year or 2. And I don't know that there will be any long-term ramifications from these incidents, because I do think the Department of Justice, and I think our government in general, is going to be very careful with investigating / prosecuting political adversaries. Like once somebody is voted out of office, that you then go after your political adversary, your opponent. That we've heard multiple people in government, in politics say it's just a dangerous precedent to set. It's something that happens in corrupt governments, that you try to throw your political adversary in prison. So that does go into play when you're looking at these investigations.
It does, and it's unfortunate because there are some times where it could happen where a person of great power in the national political system has committed a crime that absolutely needs to be punished, so that you make sure the next person doesn't try to do the same damn thing, because there has to be some kind of consequence for screwing up. There has to be a consequence. Now, that's why nuance is important. So they will investigate this. They should investigate this. And we should also know the nuance. What are the actual differences in the cases? And what you were talking about earlier, to your point at the beginning of what you were saying, is why can't people, basically, and I'm paraphrasing for you, is why can't people just kind of understand that it's not necessarily equal, and not everything is equal. You hear classified documents taken by Trump, you hear classified documents taken by Biden. Does not necessarily mean the situations are exactly the same. People don't want to hear that, though. People want to think, well, if he did it, this other guy did it, and they're the exact same thing. Maybe, but we don't know that. At this point, though, it does not seem to be the case that it is exactly the same situation. One side does appear, as of right now, to be cooperating more than the other side did.
And
right? I mean, I don't think that's... If you're looking at the facts of what happened objectively, that's what we know over the last 8 months, is that so far these two situations are not exactly alike, but that does not excuse the current Biden situation.
Well,
nobody's making an excuse for him.
And in any investigation, the amount of cooperation determines the process by which you proceed with that investigation. If you have zero cooperation from the person you're investigating, it's going to look different. Your process, your methods are going to look different than they will if the person you are investigating cooperates and hands over the materials, or in this case, the documents, when they are requested, or at this point, even before they were requested, just the moment they were discovered. So we do want your thoughts on this, 314-436-7900. I also, earlier in the day on Total Information AM, Mayor Tashara Jones of the city of St. Louis, as well as the new police chief, Robert Tracy, were in with Tom Ackerman and Carol Daniel. And we were talking about the city of St. Louis and the many issues facing it, many of them deeply rooted, but some that would seem to be a pretty easy fix. We had our abandoned car that was outside Catalyst Coffee Shop, outside this building, that was there for 3 to 4 months. We'll say 3 months, right by the Soldiers Memorial, in view of City Hall. And it was really an eyesore, and how it just seems to confirm people's worst preconceived ideas about the city of St. Louis. When you go to a coffee shop, you're in the heart of downtown, and you see an abandoned and completely wrecked vehicle just sitting on the street for months. It looks like nobody cares. We talked to Les Sturman, downtown resident, very active in the city. He lives on Washington and took a picture and tweeted this picture of this dumpster outside the old Bobby's place on Washington. The dumpster's overflowing. In fact, one end of the dumpster is opened up, so the trash is spilling out, and people have brought furniture, reclining chairs, wheelchairs, and just thrown it onto the pile. There are several bins full of old cooking oil from the frying oil from restaurants that have closed years ago. It's a really bad look. Well, yesterday, Citizens for a Greater Downtown tweeted out picture from a resident's window in the, I think it's Ellie Walker Lofts. I always said Eli, but I think it's Ellie Walker Lofts downtown, shot out by gunfire, just stray gunfire. I love the city of St. Louis and the lofts. I think it would be so cool to live in a loft downtown, especially down by the stadium. And then you see stuff like this. And this is not unusual for a resident to have windows shot out from stray gunfire. That's untenable.
Did somebody just tweet about it just now?
The Citizens for a Greater Downtown. I had it from last night. It happened last night. Yeah. Just with the update on the car, right? And how we had a shooting out here just outside our building where the bullets went through the sheriff's office, like the city courts building, and then went through the windows of the sheriff's office. That is untenable if you're trying to grow a downtown. I'm the person that should be living downtown. And that's how I feel. I would love to, but it's the street racing at night. It's the gunfire. These things need to be brought under control if you're going to have a viable city with residents and people coming down and walking the streets and filling the streets every day.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that. That's why we've talked about it many times before. Has to get better. Amy Marks, Core's Chris Ranji, you are listening to KMOX.
Hi, I'm Kevin Wheeler, and I want to talk to you about Ophthalmology Associates. And of course, they are known as the doctors' doctors because they treat more doctors in the area than any other practice. Now, of course, the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates, Dr. Birdie, Malhotra, Brasati, and Royer, are experts in their fields. They diagnose and treat all kinds of diseases of the eye, from dry eye to allergy eyes to cataracts to macular degeneration, glaucoma, and they can obviously consult on LASIK surgery as well and perform that surgery for you as well. The most important thing I can tell you, and it's what I learned when I visited Dr. Malhotra, is to stay ahead of the game. Get your appointment done, get your eyes checked out, and cut off potential problems in the future as early as possible. Give them a call to set up an appointment, 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com. You'll find Ophthalmology Associates 1/2 mile west of 270 on Manchester Road. Again, 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. Make the switch to green soaps and personal products and green cleaning products for the sink and shower. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Are you concerned about higher taxes, soaring inflation, and what's next for the stock market? Don't miss Your Retirement Professors this Saturday afternoon at 1 on St. Louis's News Radio, KMOX.
Home Sweet Home mission is to give underserved families a sense of pride and to improve the quality of their lives by providing basic household furnishings. To learn more, go to homesweethomestl.org.
The greatest radio talk show host ever.
Now, more of the show.
Hip, hip. Hip, hip.
Text messages welcome 314-436-7900. Always welcome to the show. And voicemails are always welcome to the show. 944-1120. This text message from a 618 says, you think they are cooperating in regard to the Biden documents. You think they are cooperating until they find more, which I think is a valid point. I guess the question is what they've turned over. Is it possible they know of more and are like, oh, we can't let these get out? But if we turn over some of these documents, it will at least look like we're cooperating. But we have these other ones that they don't know about. Let's just hide them. I don't know. I guess that's possible. I think that's certainly possible, and it should be acknowledged as a possibility.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder if his attorneys, if Joe Biden's personal attorneys are thinking, Joe, have you got any boxes anywhere else? And of course, Joe Biden right now, I mean, he probably has no idea. There's a lot that he has no idea about. And I would just say, I don't know. So maybe now are his attorneys, I mean, now that the FBI is investigating Joe Biden, my guess is maybe the FBI is in cooperation with Biden and his personal attorneys searching all of his residences and offices.
Yeah, it's possible.
Because that's where they found this next batch of classified documents was at his Wilmington home.
It does seem like this is the kind of thing that should happen before you leave. Before you leave office. Before you leave the vice presidential residence or the White House or whatever. It feels like you should know this stuff and to have it all ironed out. Hey, you have teams of people who work for you. Guys, let's somebody with clearance, let's go through all these documents and make sure that everything that's supposed to be here is here.
So Biden had a 2020 campaign video where he backs the aforementioned Corvette into his garage in his Wilmington home. I mean, I don't know. You can watch the video. There's like boxes in the background. I don't know if those are the same boxes, but it's kind of funny because that's his Corvette. It is a pretty nice Corvette, which you would expect. But yeah, he backs it up into the garage in his campaign video. I don't know. Maybe those were the boxes.
Text message, this is from a 636.
Okay.
Not surprising, Chris is already unclassifying the Biden documents. I did no such thing.
You classified them in your mind, I remember.
Oh, in my head, I declassified them.
Yes.
Oh.
Come on, Chris.
That's what happened. No, what we said was...
Was that before or after you told me to go to hell?
It was after. Oh, yeah, we lost a listener because I told Amy to go straight to hell.
Which
Amy,
is mean.
Well, you took Prince.
I did.
You took Prince from me. That was going to be my number one pick. And I know you don't even care about Prince, but
No,
you
I
just
do.
took him. You took him to spite me.
I took Prince because I do care about him and also to spite you. And also to spite you. And in fact, entirely to spite you. I picked Beethoven after you picked Mozart.
Yeah, but that's not spite. I was never going to pick Beethoven.
But you would have been the only one with a classical composer.
What Amy is referring to is our draft. We did a dead musician draft, musicians that you wish you could see live, perform live. And it's on our Twitter account at the show KMOX. Go to it and you can vote, follow the account, and you can go to it and whatnot. I think you're going to win that draft.
Okay.
You can vote on the two teams and tell us which one you think is better. Text message from a 540. Listen to your show almost daily via the Odyssey app.
Oh, very nice.
All right.
Thank you.
And find it to be a great break from the normal left or right talking heads. You two talk about normal everyday life events as much as world events, and it's great. Just hate the car has been towed because I was looking forward to seeing it when I come to opening day.
This is my favorite texter of all time.
That's great.
Thank you, texter. What a kind and thoughtful and engaging text.
That is exactly how I felt about it because we went on this, I don't know, is it a crusade? It's not a crusade.
It was it was a cause.
It was a cause. We had this cause to get that abandoned vehicle that had been sitting outside a place of business for 3 months, dented, like it was
Not
involved-
dented.
It was
caved in. It had been
Yes.
broadsided.
We wanted it removed because it looked like crap, and it's just an indication of a greater
Negligence.
problem, negligence in downtown St. Louis. So we wanted it removed. We decided to start decorating it, and day 2, it was gone. As soon as we decorated the thing, it got removed, and I felt myself being sad about it. I was also kind of hoping that by, like maybe we get 6 weeks in with it,
Right.
decorating it every day, adding more stuff to it.
It's almost like a Hallmark movie where the big city girl has to work with someone she despises, maybe the hometown boy that's stubborn in his way, and has to work with someone that she despises, but then falls
that
in love
me?
with him. No, that's us in
Oh.
the car, and then falls in love with him.
Oh, the car is the boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We fell in love with this car, and now he's gone.
She's
gone.
She is gone. And by the way, thank you for listening from Virginia.
Oh, wow.
That 5-4 texter all the way from Virginia. That is, when we turned the corner and that thing was on the tow truck,
Mhm.
and he was literally about to pull out, part of my,
Your heart sank.
it did.
Yeah, I could see it. You really haven't been the same since.
I feel that way. 618. I am severely disappointed nobody drafted Tom Petty.
Oh,
Didn't think about it.
that's a good one.
I like Tom Petty. I didn't love Tom Petty,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I get it.
We also had a texter that suggested Amy Winehouse, which is a good one.
I would like to have seen where that career went.
Yeah.
Cut short a little bit too quickly. She was talented. I thought that
Mhm.
would have been really interesting. That's a very good point as well.
Janis Joplin, very young, but I respect her and what she did. I was never a big Janis Joplin fan. Not my style. Like just not her
Yeah.
personally. I mean, just the music.
All right,
Yeah.
Dave, you're a classic rock guy. Did Janis Joplin, is it true she choked to death?
It was a drug overdose.
No, Mama
Oh.
Cass choked to death.
Oh, Mama Cass is the one that choked on the ham sandwich or something, right?
That's a legend. That actually didn't happen.
It didn't. So what did happen?
I think she had a heart attack.
While eating a ham sandwich?
I don't know what she was eating at the time, but from what I understand, it was a heart attack.
I've always heard it was like a chicken or a ham sandwich.
Yeah, I think that's an urban legend.
What a great urban legend, though.
Is it?
Yeah. And how did I confuse Janis Joplin and Mama Cass?
Every time there's a musician, you're like, did that person choke on a ham sandwich?
That's so funny.
You know who's eating a sandwich right now for sure? Kevin Killeen.
Is he?
Have you ever seen that guy without a sandwich in
No,
his
he's
hand?
always got a sandwich.
Yeah.
Sauntering around with a sandwich.
Yep.
Another text message from a 314. So Bidens are good people? You cover for them every time. All right. Listen.
Was that a plural, Biden's?
Yeah. Yeah. He's talking about the whole clan.
Oh, gotcha. Like apostrophe. Got it.
Yeah. I don't cover for them every time. But listen, I appreciate you listening to your imaginary radio. Good for you. Like, I know.
I know
the
what this
people-
person's saying though. And I see it. I do feel like, oh, you're kind of waiting. There was so much immediate condemnation of Donald Trump and outrage with the documents. There needs to be a corresponding outrage and condemnation of Biden with his documents.
And I think there is.
Yeah, I think so. I think with the second batch, I think it has amplified for sure. Because even I mean, I'm guilty of it. That when they said there were 10 documents found at his office that were immediately returned upon their discovery by his personal attorneys, to me, it felt fundamentally different than what happened at Mar-a-Lago. And yeah, I wasn't as outraged. I did think it needed to be investigated, but I
Let me
wasn't
put it
as
this way.
outraged.
If Joe Biden's residence or whatever, the Penn Biden Center, had been actually raided by FBI, if that had happened, then I think I'd feel like, oh, okay, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, I feel that way now. And I've said that. I've been very clear. And I've also been very clear multiple times. This should 100% be investigated.
Mhm. And because
with no holding back.
And because
investigated. Yes.
Because it was investigated, they found the additional documents at his home.
But I'm not sitting here saying this is another witch hunt. I'm not
No.
doing that. And I don't see anybody on that side doing it yet. And if they do, they should knock it off because this is not a witch hunt.
I agree with what you said, though, a while ago. In this type of politically charged environment where nobody is going to grant the benefit of a doubt to anyone else, man, are missteps costly.
Yes, they are.
And these can be both inadvertent missteps and deliberate missteps. I'm not saying
I
that,
agree
like,
with you.
oh, Biden made an innocent mistake. I'm not saying that. I'm saying whether it was a deliberate act that was that broke the law, or if it was unintentional. Any type of misstep like that is so costly.
Another text from a 618. How do you know Biden is turning over all he's taken? Just because he's cooperating doesn't mean he's honestly giving all he's got. Maybe law enforcement should go in with a search warrant.
I think they are searching.
I mean, right? I think so. But I don't think that's wrong. I don't think
Right.
that text message is
No.
wrong. It's
No.
not necessarily true. He's given up everything, but there has at least been some element of them being forward about it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that can be denied.
The question is, how ugly
How
will
much?
it get? Yeah.
We'll see. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji sticking around with Dave Glover next on KMOX.
Need to sell your home but not willing to play the wait and see game? This is Debbie Monterey with Gloria Liu with your home sold guarantee.